What's up, everybody, and welcome to GameFace, episode 491, right here on SIFTD at SIFTD.net. I'm Shane Satterfield, your humble host for the next couple hours of awesome video game discussion, and alongside me to do all of that, as always, is the one and only Matt Keil. What's up, Matt?
This is like an old school video game summer.
Yeah, we are in the dregs of summer. We really are. It has been, it's still hot here, too. Yeah. We're on quite a run.
I had a very busy weekend, and I was like, oh, I didn't play anything. I should look and see what came out, so I didn't. It was just, oh, okay.
I sent you code for the only game that was...
I sent you that. Yeah, I didn't have time.
Kind of worth covering today.
But, like, and then, like, I thought the Game Freak game came out.
Beast of Reincarnation.
Yeah, but it turned out that it was just because the review build leaked, and that's why people were playing it. Because I saw people playing it, and I was like, "Wait, did I miss that?" I was like, "No, that's today, I think."
Yep, the game leaked to all the piracy sites yesterday, and then miraculously today, the embargo breaks for all the reviews. And we are not covering Beast of Reincarnation in this week's episode. We will talk about it in next week's episode.
I watched a stream of it for a while. I think that might be enough.
Like, you saw enough already?
A little bit. Like, people forget that they've done non-Pokemon games before, and with the exception of Pocket Card Jockey, they all kind of suck.
Yeah, wasn't there Tembo?
I don't mean to besmirch the good name of Tembo the Badass Elephant, but come on. There are a couple other ones with weird animated stuff.
They've never made like a gritty adult game before. This is their first attempt at that.
But really, like the streamer I can't remember who it was. I think it was Immortal Cheese or something like that. His name was Cheese, and he did mention at some point he's like, this is just like if, like, I thought this was gonna be like, oh, they're freed from the constraints of Pokemon, but it's really just like, what if the people who made like the
weird
archaic feeling Pokemon games made like a B-list PlayStation game?
Yeah,
and like, okay, like,
and that seems to be what it is. But we'll give it a play, and we'll talk about it in next week's episode. In fact, I would argue, Matt, this is maybe the slowest week of the year so far for game stuff.
Might be. Between
no game releases and honestly not a ton.
Not a lot of game news. Like even Schreier's just like, hey, let me tell you a story about something that happened 5 years ago. And he was like, oh, really nothing happened. Okay.
Yep, we are in the heat of summer right now, and this happens every year. I mean, I'll be honest with you, August actually this year looks way better than it usually does because of Grand Theft Auto. We've seen a couple games kind of come out maybe a little bit earlier than they should have. Maybe Beast and Reincarnation is one of those games.
Maybe. There's a lot of, I mean, it's like, do you go into the void in November, or do you launch a little earlier than you want to and hope you can sort of, finish building the train on the way there?
On the way to the station. It seems to be what's happening with some games. So actually this month is pretty good as far as game releases are concerned. It's just this week ended up being a really dead zone. But whatever, we still have a great episode for you guys. We always put together great topics and things to discuss that I guarantee you is going to pique your interest, and we're going to do it here again on GameFace 491. We got a lot of housekeeping today, actually, for a slow news week we do anyway. The first thing we're going to talk about is a game whose reviews came out yesterday called The Big Walk. And it is the new game from the team that made Untitled Goose Game, which I think most people liked, but if you played it, it wore thin pretty quickly.
Luckily, it's over pretty quickly.
It is, yep. This is a cooperative walking simulation.
I believe this is what the kids call friend slop.
Yeah, where it's just all about, it's kind of like Peak without the climbing, I guess is the best way to put it. Are you into these kind of games?
Not in any way whatsoever.
There's a lot of people saying this is like Game of the Year material.
Oh, this is a huge subgenre. I mean, it's like that game where you all try to cooperatively drive the bus that doesn't work properly and all that. I mean, it kind of all comes from Among Us, I think.
Yeah.
Not that Among Us was slop or anything, but it's like these like cheap, like almost intentionally asset flippy looking like cooperative games that you can basically just sort of hang out together and do a dumb thing together like that. But I mean, I remember this was in one of Keely's. This was in like Summer Games previews. I mean, I've seen this many places.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a
coming from that studio.
Very popular subgenre at this point.
It is. Yeah. Are you not interested in it at all?
No.
It's a.
No. I don't have anyone to play that with that I'd want to do that with. I guess just I'd probably be into it if I was like 20 years younger. Like it's just
It almost feels like games for people who don't really like video games.
I mean, it's more of a hangout thing more than the game isn't the point.
Honestly, a lot like my nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. Like, they play games and but they only play like Fortnite and Minecraft. Like, I bought like one of them, Tears of the Kingdom. I followed up with them a year later, and they're like, "Oh, I got like an hour into that and got bored." And I was like, "Okay, well, it's one of the best games ever made, according to a lot of people, and you don't care." And I do think that a lot of the younger generation would rather play a game like this than dive into a 50-hour open world Zelda game. So I think it's good in some ways, because I do feel like
it requires very little commitment.
It does. And one thing I will say is I don't want to hate on these types of games, because it does have an opportunity to bring new people in. Most of them probably won't graduate on to Zelda or whatever else we like playing, but some might, and that does help grow the market ultimately. So I try not to hate on these games too much.
I mean, I don't hate it. I just don't have any real interest in them. They don't do anything for me. And also, I do think that most of the kids, kids of friends I know who play these kinds of things, or even people I know who play these things, they don't think of these as games. They don't. Yeah. The idea of moving on to more complex stuff is literally not in the conversation. Mm-hmm. It is a anymore. That's like saying, hey, we all hang out at a bar, so maybe one day we'll all open bars. Like it just happens to be
I think that's a little extreme.
It just happens to be with a place where they interact. It doesn't like what they're doing, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's honestly just another way to waste time.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's really what it is. It's just another way for them to
take away the third spaces, and people will just like go to whatever
chat
equivalent.
It's like AOL chat with like a graphics interface. I haven't got to play it yet, so and we'll have this in next week's show as far as our evaluation of this. Because also, here's another thing I should mention is that this is on PSN for free. So if you subscribe to PSN, it is one of the free games for August. So my feeling is a lot of people are going to be exposed to this over the next week or so. It's going to be interesting to kind of watch the online discussion around it to see if people like us generally don't enjoy it. But I'll say this, people like us did review this at the major outlets, and they did all give it like 9s and 10s. So, I don't know, maybe there's something special about it. I'm not going to write it off until I give it a play myself, but it's called The Big Walk. It's only available for PC and PlayStation 5 right now. It's not on Xbox or Game Pass or anything like that.
I mean, a lot of times it seems like a good one of these mostly just gets out of your way most of the time.
And just lets you do what you want to do. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So Friend Slop isn't something that we talk about too much. We did cover Peak on here. I played Peak for a night or two, and I got everything I needed out of it. I understood it.
This does seem like it has more interesting ideas than Peak.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
like this is at least doing something a little different.
It also looks like griefing isn't as big a deal as it was at Peak.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
We'll see. But anyway, again, this is called Big Walk, and it's only available for PC and PS5, but it's going to be free on PSN like any day now. When do the new PSN games go up?
I don't know.
It's like the 5th or 6th of every month, I think. Something like that. So it should be up for people who are PSN subscribers here in the next few days if you want to hold out and wait. Next up, in housekeeping, the good people over at Did You Know Gaming. Do you ever watch that YouTube channel?
I used to, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I did not know it's still going.
They actually disappeared.
That's what I thought.
And have slowed down a lot. Like, when we first launched SIFTD, they were putting out a video every, 3 days.
A bunch of those, retro things sort of... Because they, in the wake of, the new retro thing, which is more collector-focused, a lot of the... That sort of stepped away, and that... One of my favorite channels shut down, which was... I think it was called This Week in the 90s or something, and it was literally, they did, I think they went for 3 or 4 years or something, but they basically flashback 30 years to this week in 1990 whatever, and they just report basically the news of video games of that week. And it was really interesting. It was well presented. It was done up production wise. It was done like an actual TV show kind of thing. It was a lot of, and they did the research well. It was a lot of fun. The host was good, and then at some point after 3 years or something, they said, okay, we're not going to do this anymore because basically it's a lot of work and we enjoy it, but it hasn't grown to the point that it justifies sustaining it. And honestly, we're starting to run out of the 90s. So it was sort of
I think that's what happened.
They weren't going to get to the 2000s and keep doing it basically, which kind of would have. I'm I kind of would have liked that because that was when I was in it. It would be fun to see some of those weeks re-reported.
Well, I think any retro show where you do a lot of episodes every week, eventually you're going to run out of stuff. Yeah. And I think that's what Did You Know Gaming ended up reaching, is a point where they're like, man...
We all knew.
Yeah, right. Or we're having to work so hard for each episode, and the views aren't rationalizing it. So they went down to like one episode a month, roughly. Recently, they started picking it back up, though. And one of their recent episodes was, and if you don't know what they are, they basically do investigations of retro stuff. And generally, probably 80% of the time, it is Nintendo related. But they're really good about digging up old media, old magazine articles. They scan the old Japanese. They're just really, really good. But I think they reached the law of diminishing returns. And one of their recent episodes was they went and they investigated the review scores for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Because, you know, it has been, what, a 9.8 or a 9.9 or whatever on Metacritic for...
Forever.
30 years.
As long as Metacritic's been there.
And people have just accepted that it's the highest rated game of all time. And so Did You Know Gaming was like, well, let's go look at that and make sure that the score is accurate. And they went back and looked, and it was not.
Like some rando gave it a 7 at some point in 2010.
Well, no, they don't even... So they had jimmied like a bunch of stuff to make Ocarina of Time stay at the top. And we don't know if it was on purpose or it just worked out that way.
Honestly, if I was running Metacritic, I might do something like that just to avoid the screaming from
of the
weirdos.
Nintendo fans. Well, they had done...
Just let them have it.
Yeah. They had misinterpreted a couple magazine review scores to make them higher than they should have been. There was another review that they had ignored because it was lower than the others. But ultimately...
I mean, you do tend to... If you're taking a mean or an average, you do tend to discount the outliers high and low.
Yep. And so what they did was they took the real scores and averaged them all out.
We're not going to count this 11 out of 10. That doesn't make any sense.
Yep. So they took... the scores, the real scores, and recalculated them and found that it dropped 1/10 of a point.
All right.
But the thing is...
I mean, it is the time to probably do that because if you got the remake and all that.
Yep. And I don't know if Metacritic is going to adjust its score or not.
Metacritic doesn't give a shit.
Probably not.
But if there's one thing I learned dealing with Metacritic is they do not care about accuracy at all.
They really don't. And, yeah, because you worked on a 5-point scale, and Metacritic does not play well with
like,
that.
our 3 means this. Like, no, your 3 is a 60%.
Yeah.
We're like, no, it isn't.
it really isn't.
We're like, well, that's what that means numerically. I'm like, it's numerically.
It's
It's not that kind
it's
of math.
It's a 5-point
Like,
scale.
we all know that, like, in reality, a 1 is basically anything below a 60.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, but once it drops below that, nobody gives a shit.
It doesn't matter. It might as well be a 0.
Yeah. So, and they were not into it.
Well, because of that 1/10, it is
nerds.
No longer the highest reviewed game ever. It is now tied with 3 different games. Think you can name them?
Yeah, they're right there.
Oh. All right. Well, do you think you could have before that? Before looking?
I probably would have guessed 2 of them. I don't think I would have guessed the first one.
Yep. Well, the 3 games...
I forgot how well reviewed that was.
Yeah. So the 3 games that it's now tied with for the highest aggregate review score of all time are Soul Calibur, Grand Theft Auto 4, and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
I would not have guessed Soul Calibur. I forgot how highly...
Dreamcast. Oh, yeah. It got perfect 10s pretty much across the board from everybody. And it deserved it.
Yeah. I mean, for the time.
Yeah. Now...
I just completely forgot that happened.
It was huge, yeah. With critics especially.
A fighting game just wouldn't do that now.
No way.
In the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Really.
At the time, though, people still cared about stuff looking arcade perfect with fighting games, and it was.
It was better.
It did look better. Arcade. You're right, than the arcade board. Yep. So I'm actually pretty cool with it matching all of those games. Like
sure.
I don't feel like Ocarina of Time's being slighted.
No, I mean the odd man out in that group to me is GTA 4.
You think?
Like GTA 4 isn't that good.
I really liked it. I gave it like a 97.
I gave it a 5. I liked it, but up against those, also better than San Andreas and 5. I wouldn't say so.
I mean, for the time.
I don't think it was better than San Andreas, even for the time.
Well, it didn't have as many features as San Andreas.
No, not at all. It was a step backwards in a lot of ways.
But what I liked about Grand Theft Auto...
It was still, like, better than head and shoulders above almost anything else at the time anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, I still think it had that sort of that HD era issue that, you know, I mean, Square has usually, like, made fun of it the most, but for the most. But that thing where it's like suddenly you moved into this higher resolution and this higher quality thing, and like everybody scaled back the scale of everything to like so they didn't have to make all that. So, they didn't want to make the workout. They want to make it as one of the reasons San Andreas could do all the things it did is because it was working in a framework that was already established for 2 games.
Yeah.
And all that stuff already existed. The tools in that engine already existed, and they could just sort of build out from it. And they had everybody kind of had to start over with the 360 era, and like. You just made it a little less ambitious. Instead of everybody running around doing open world stuff, everybody fucking texted you and left you messages about going bowling.
I just liked the tone of it, honestly, because it was like, the first few, they were kind of slapstick games.
It was definitely the closest they ever got to an adult story. Yeah. Or a story for grown-ups, I guess. Not like adult.
And they kind of reverted back with GTA 5 a little bit.
GTA 5 went different
kind of
places.
In the middle.
Like I would say, I always say that the 3 protagonists in 5 sort of represent the 3 different directions they can't decide to choose. They've never been able to choose between. Where it's like Franklin is more or less the protagonist from like an early PlayStation 2 version of the game. Michael is more like the protagonist in the modern like sort of GTA 4 style. And in terms of their stories, and then Trevor is how we actually play the game. Like Trevor is just the player. Trevor is this psychotic weirdo who just blows shit up all the time. I always thought that GTA 5 was kind of a comment on like this was one idea on how to take this game. This is the other idea, and this is the way you idiots ruin it.
Yeah,
it's like.
Barry Gooster in chat reminds us that it says GTA 4 is also his favorite, but he says it also came out during the dreaded gray and brown era of games.
And it is gray and brown.
It is very gray and brown.
And it's set in Liberty City, so it's a very boring map, and, and there's not a lot. I think it's the most sterile feeling in terms of the world, in part because New York's been done to death, and in part because there's just not a lot to do in that game outside of the main story. I do think the main story is probably the closest they ever got to telling...
adult tale.
A Godfather style like story as opposed to a Scarface style story, But I would absolutely, certainly in hindsight and probably still at the time, I would still put San Andreas over it as a game.
I mean, it's definitely more full featured, without a doubt. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. And then we have one more thing for housekeeping today, one more story, and this is kind of a funny, interesting story. Last week, a Blizzard employee was fired because he was using a tool that he had to insta-kill any enemy in the game to help his friends. So his friends went on these high-level raids, and he was just sitting there basically as a dungeon master, pressing a button and just wiping away all the hit points of these crazy enemies. And the crazy part of it all is somebody discovered it. Like a player of World of Warcraft who looks through all the data for raids. Found the anomaly, the data anomaly, and was like, wait a minute, where did all these hit points go? And contacted Blizzard, and Blizzard looked into it and was like, oh my god, we have somebody on the inside killing bosses for his friends. What do you make of this, Matt? Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Well, it sounds like, from what I read, he was trying to impress a girl.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So it was a female player?
No, it was like that and like his guild group or something. Very stupid.
Oh, man.
Like, come on, man. They're going to catch you one way or the other. Someone's going to... It's like if Blizzard doesn't have internal monitoring for that, you were going to run into some guy like this.
Yeah.
Who just like obsesses over data over, I don't know. It's simply... I mean, someone's always paying attention, Mr. Mulder.
I mean, my guess is that guy... Was it a guy that they fired? I don't remember.
I think so,
Was it? My guess is that guy waited out and was like, okay, I could lose my job at Blizzard, which I'm guessing was his dream job or whatever, or I could have a girlfriend. And Matt, I think a lot of people in that calculation are going to choose the girlfriend. I really do. And I think it's probably short-sighted because as you get older, you realize that you meet girls, they come and go, and you'll date multiple girls in your life or whatever. But when you don't have one, it doesn't feel that way. And my guess is he looked at those two options and was like, I'll choose the girlfriend and let the chips fall where they may. And sadly for him...
Yeah, well, now you're unemployed, and that makes it even harder.
And now you're really not going to find a girl.
You can't kill that raid boss behind the scenes. What good are you?
Yeah. That's kind of right, actually. So I honestly feel a little sad for the guy. But you're right. In the end, he made the wrong decision, and he's going to have to pay for it. And he did pay for it, ultimately. And look, if you're a player of World of Warcraft or any game...
There's probably a girl out there who'd be impressed just that you work at Blizzard.
Like, you didn't need to kill the boss for it.
No, you didn't need to get yourself fired over.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, because getting fired from Blizzard definitely is hurting your chances with the girl. Yeah. You probably would have been smarter.
And every other company, and now everybody knows.
Yeah. He definitely made the wrong decision. But again, I am not surprised that was a decision that he made, particularly with some of the people in the circles that we know. Right. So I understand it, but he did make the wrong choice.
As Jane Cameron said about Alien 3, not how I would have done it, but here we are.
Yeah. Eric Cartmenes says girl over job. Actually, in chat, let's do it. Let's see what our chat says. Girl or job? Just type one word, girl or job, in chat, and let us know what you would have chosen if you were this guy. Would you have killed the bosses for the girl, or would you have just done your job and try to just win her heart the other way? Job, girl, job, girl.
Jobs are a lot harder to get now than girls, I'll tell you that much.
Dark Force, but I'm an incel. Neither, Justin Horman says. Job, wow, they're coming fast. They're coming fast on YouTube, too. Let's see over there. Girl, job, over on YouTube. On Twitch, let's start at the beginning here. Job, girl, job, girl, job, job, girl, job, job, girl, job, girl.
How about even?
I think job won slightly, but not by much.
Yeah.
I mean, it does show you, because
if you've already got the job, and it's a job that could theoretically impress someone, why risk it for some rant? It doesn't make any sense.
Not Cirque says depends, honestly, on how hot she is. That matters. How smart she is.
Doesn't matter how hot someone. No matter how hot somebody is, or someone's sick of their shit.
That's true. Yeah. But what if she was like the total package? Hot, smart, geek. I mean, the perfect girl. Then what?
I don't know. I've never had to get fired from a job to get that.
That's true. Some people might have to.
And I have.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
That girl would probably be impressed that you work at Blizzard, period. Not that you can, like, cheat for her.
Right. He did go the extra mile, and that's what burned him for sure.
Also, there is an element of, like, if you're dealing with someone and you're thinking about this regarding them, and they're willing to do something that unethical, what are they willing to do in a relationship?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't speak well of his character in general.
Yeah. Joaquin Dragoon says jobs are expendable. Some would argue girlfriends are too, sadly.
I'm gonna tell you right now that a job at Blizzard in your chosen field is not expendable.
It's not. It would be very hard to get that
We're not
job.
Talking about working at Blockbuster here.
Yeah.
We're talking about working at one of the most prestigious, I mean,
and Blizzard
maybe no longer deserved in some cases, but like one of the most prestigious game development studios in the world.
And Blizzard hiring HR, no joke. You work to get that job.
Yeah,
you go through like 5 rounds, and
that is a war. I mean, I think the only place I've seen with more stringent, like longer process might be Riot.
Amazon. Amazon's ridiculous. Joaquin Dragoon says he would just be gone in the next layoff. Sadly, that's kind of true.
That's also possible.
Because I think there is a big layoff coming to both Blizzard and Activision here over the next 6 to 8 months.
The storm is coming, no doubt.
There's still 1,600 more jobs that they are going to eliminate. So
and I'm sure that the Blizzard roster is one of those places they're looking at.
Nick Satois says, in my dating days, I would have been more impressed with the guy who worked at Blizzard than the one who got fired impressing me. Fair enough. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got here? And I'm going to go back through and thank people for Twitch Prime. Joe Azimit. I'll never get that right. Thank you for Twitch Prime. Joaquin Dragoon says, the way things are in the U.S., you'll lose both your job and your girl. Mm-hmm. Barry Gooster says, I hope she's paying my rent. That's true. That girlfriend's not going to pay the rent. Your job will. Commander Fed says, most jobs in tech are 3 to 4 interviews. It's exhausting. I know, man. I know.
Yep. They don't even tell you didn't get it.
Yeah. And then Notzerk follows up. He says,
back in the day, like you used to get calls from like McDonald's that told you didn't get the job, just so you could close the book on that.
They don't even tell you now.
They don't tell you anything. Yeah, it's crazy.
They don't even freaking tell you. Notzerk on YouTube follows up with, but for real, he was definitely stupid, and at the end of the day, he probably just got used, and now he's left with nothing. Yeah. I mean, that's the other part of it too, is that a girl is a human being, and she could change her mind the next day and decide that she doesn't like you anymore.
Or she could just not. She could not know that he was doing that to do that. Like it's like, oh, you were doing that to get in my pants. Like
right.
I thought you were just doing because
I thought you were doing it because you're right.
I thought you just did that for everybody.
You're right, man, for sure. I just want to scroll up here. Oh, Vincent reminds us that Big Walk is on Switch 2 as well. Thank you, Vincent. I did omit that for sure. Let's scroll up here and look for Twitch Prime to thank everybody. There's a lot. Wow. What is the beginning of the month? That's how it usually happens. Oh, Mr. Jack535, thank you. Who else we got here? Nix Twa, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. And thank you again for all those subs that you gave out last week, I think it was. Totamish, thank you for Twitch Prime. Who else we got? AJ the Legend, thank you. Hopefully you're recovered from Comic-Con now. Fresh from the Deli, thank you. Who else we got? Dark Force 256, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. And Very Gooster, thank you for Tier 1. Joaquin Dragoon, thank you for Twitch Prime. I love the beginning of the month. It feels great getting all these Twitch Primes. Nox Adernitis, thank you for Twitch Prime. Who else we got in here? Ilya GX, thank you. And are there any more? Vincent says it was actually a member of the Ray group who noticed and tattled. So someone narked him out.
Unintentionally.
Oh, unintentionally. I don't know how that happens.
I'm probably just talking about what happened. And then someone was like, wait a minute.
But you got to know that that's going to get somebody fired.
That might have been what tipped off the guy who goes to the data.
Right. That could be.
Been like, wait, some weird thing happened. It was super crazy. It was weird. And it was like, well, I'm going to look into that. And like that, probably just telling a funny story. And someone's like, that doesn't add up. And like dug into it.
Yeah.
That's how murderers get caught.
Yeah. Bills above 13. In this economy, job. Noxator United says, I didn't have a job when I met my wife. So, girl. Thank you, Liberal Hack, for gifting subs. 10 subs? Are you freaking kidding me? Thank you, man. That is awesome. Thank you. That's great. What else we got? I already got you, Joseph. Someday I'll learn how to say that. Probably not. Maybe he's talented enough to find other employment. I mean, there's a lot of talented people out there looking for employment right now, man. You don't want to put yourself behind the 8 ball. That's all I'm going to say. Yep. Thank you for the subs, Liberal Hack. That's awesome, brother. All right. That's it for our housekeeping. But a reminder before we really get going into the heart of the show that we are supported 100% at patreon.com/sifted for $5 a month. You get all our content early. That's a pretty good deal. You get the show 3 days early, Pactor Factor a week early. It definitely makes a difference. If you have no money, you can't help us out there, but you're a member of Amazon Prime, you can still help us out. Just go to twitch.tv/SiftedGames, connect your accounts between Twitch and Amazon Prime, and you can give us a free $2.50 every freaking month. It takes a minute to hook them up, and then 3 clicks a month. After that, you do have to do it every month, and that sucks. And that's why we thank people who do it every month, because we really, really appreciate it. But you can do that to help us. And if you can't do that, just like the show right now. Hit like, leave a comment on the show right now, share it on social media. All that stuff makes a difference for us, and we'd appreciate it all very, very much. All right, we're just about ready to get into episode 491. But before we do that, as always, here's a word from our awesome sponsor, LS Cream.
It's LS Cream, the fine cream liqueur crafted by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. Inspired by the Haitian drink Crémasse, LS Cream delivers an award-winning experience with every single pour. One sip and you'll see why. It's a party favorite. The silky blend of fresh cream and premium neutral grain spirits mixes great with everything. I dare you to put a shot in your coffee. I've been drinking it for years and still, I find new combinations that taste incredible. LS Cream is the kind of drink that keeps surprising you thanks to its notes of vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. Take it to any gathering and watch it steal the spotlight. We've never seen anyone resist. Ready to join the fan club? Head to creamls.com/sifted for recipes, retailers, and online orders. That's creamls.com/sifted.
It is a hot summer, people. It's still hot here. I'm wearing shorts again today. It's just still freaking steaming here. It's hot everywhere. Matt, it feels like the whole world is on fire right now. Washington State, Canada, there's like 3 countries overseas right now. They're having crazy wildfires. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like,
'tis the season.
It's really crazy. And we even have some fires around here too. Bottom line is, it is hot. And I know a lot of people, when they think about liqueur, they're like, oh, it's like a nice drink in the wintertime when it's cold outside. You can make warm drinks. Well, let me just tell you this. Next time you go to get your kids some ice cream, or you're making your wife some ice cream or whatever, get a couple scoops out for yourself, put it in the blender, Put in some LS cream in with that and a little bit of milk and just blend it and then pour it out and get yourself a straw and watch everybody become envious of you. Best of all, you're totally under the radar. Nobody knows that you're drinking liquor. And truth be told, you could probably drink the whole thing and maybe only feel a little bit of a buzz. It's not really powerful as far as the alcohol is concerned. There are so many ways to drink LS Cream and have a better life because of it. Go to creamls.com/sifted. You can find bottles there online or locally, or you can sign up for the LS Cream 5K Challenge where you make your own drink like I just told you how. Take a picture of it, upload it to Instagram, tag them, and you could win $5,000 USD. Go to creamls.com/sifted. And now I want to drink like that because I'm a little warm today. Did you get your AC fixed? Is it fixed now? Is it? Yeah, it's definitely better here this week than it was last week. All right. It's time to get on with the show proper. And as always, we kick off the show with our VideoGame.Town headline of the week. VideoGame.Town is a brand new gaming website that takes a lot of the best writers from the industry who unfortunately have recently lost their jobs. It scoops them up. It gives them a place to ply their trade, to publish a bunch of their articles. It also pays them very, very well. Go to VideoGame.Town. I also appreciate that they are really kind of reviving the lost art of the written word. Most of their articles are written. They do have a podcast. You can check that out too. But most of the content there is written stuff. So if you're a low bandwidth person who prefers to read stuff instead of watching videos, VideoGame.Town is also a boon. Go to VideoGame.Town. That is their URL. Check out all their awesome content there. Check out their podcast. Check out their Patreon. They're just like us. They're an independent gaming website. They're not owned by corporate overlords. Their editorial, therefore, is probably airtight. Support them if you can. Go to VideoGame.Town. And the headline of the week from VideoGame.Town is something we've been talking about for a while. And Matt, I think at this point, it's going to take something real big to knock this down from the biggest news story of 2026. And that is the NoDiscNoBuy controversy. A bunch more stuff happened this week related to PlayStation killing physical discs, killing physical media. And we're going to go through them very quickly here as the VideoGame.Town headline of the week. Matt, the biggest thing that came out this week, generally, is that PlayStation is not backing down. So they had...
Shocker.
Yeah. So they had not issued a financial or a statement since it announced that it was killing discs. And it took a week off from putting anything up on Twitter. And then when it finally did, it just got carpet bombed by people complaining about them killing discs. And they just ignore it. And they ignored it. And it's still happening. Yesterday, I went to its YouTube channel, and every video still was just carpet bombed by NoDiscNoBuy people, basically. And so, basically, PlayStation just went radio silent and wasn't saying anything about it, but at its quarterly financial report, it could not escape because the press was there, and they have their people up there for Q&A. And so, luckily, someone from the press decided to really ask PlayStation the hard questions. And the first thing I'm going to say is that I now know who their management team is, which I did not before. Like, once they got rid of their old head of PlayStation and they promoted the one guy from Japan, I had no idea who their management team was at that point. And now I do. And their CTO is a female. I'm sorry, CFO, their chief financial officer, is a
woman.
female. Yeah, a woman. Is it wrong to say female?
It makes you sound like a Ferengi.
What's a Ferengi?
That's those the hyper-capitalist Star Trek villains that go female.
Oh,
like,
but there's nothing really wrong with saying it, right?
It's not preferred.
Really?
They're women, not females. They're not dogs. They're women. Women are
What?
people.
Where are you getting that from?
The last 20 years.
I've never had anyone say that it's wrong to say female. But
It's
anyway,
not wrong. But I'm giving you some advice.
Okay.
Women will prefer it if you call them women, not females.
Okay. So a female is their chief. I'm sorry. Yeah, woman. Wait.
Yes, woman. Human beings are women. Yes.
They're also females.
That is you can sex a person as female, yes, but human beings socially are women. Like,
Okay.
I promise you.
Okay.
They prefer it if you call them women. Or if you kill their raid bosses for them, I guess. You can pick one. Pick one.
You can call them whatever you want, and then they'll leave you anyway. So their chief financial officer is named Lynn Tao, and Tao. And she, unfortunately, was the one who had to answer all the questions about this at the quarterly report. Matt, do you think that was by design?
How do you mean?
That Sony Japan was like, we'll let the a female, a woman on our staff handle this stuff?
Probably not.
Do you think she's the one who made the decision, the chief financial officer?
I don't think any one person made the decision.
Yeah, that's too big of a decision for one person to make. But regardless,
I'm pretty sure the people who would have made that decision are in Japan.
Yeah, well, she is too.
Yeah,
yeah. All these people are in Japan.
But I just don't think no one has that kind of power.
You don't think they were like, let her jump on the grenade?
Because
you know how corporate
let Leon do it.
I mean, you know how corporate culture is in Japan, though. Like, it's just recently that women have went into the workplace full force.
Right, but it just... I don't think they think this is a particularly crazy decision. That's part of it.
They really don't. And we'll get to their quotes.
And the thing is, they're right.
They are kind of right.
Yep. So maybe... I mean, I don't think they sent her out to be the scapegoat, but I think maybe they didn't think anything of it. Like, she's in charge of this part, so she can talk about it. Like,
because it's going to affect her division the most.
Like, I don't think it was malicious. I think to them it just made sense that that's where that falls in the chain of command.
I've just seen some stuff in Japan.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm sure you have too.
But again, I don't think they think this is a bombshell.
Yeah.
And they know it won't matter.
They didn't think anybody was jumping on a grenade, is what you're saying, basically.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they know that this particular grenade is a firecracker.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's going to be, there's going to be
there's going to be a lot of sound and fury, but it's not going to be anything
ultimately hurt.
Substantial.
Yep. Well, here are...
No one getting fired over this.
Yeah. Not there anyway. Here are the quotes from her. There are various reasons we made this decision. The biggest being that the digitization of content overall has been progressing. That's the big factor. It's not just for PlayStation, but for all kinds of content. Digitization is progressing. And so, when we think about the future, and we put in a lot of thought and time, and we cautiously considered this, and we came to this conclusion, and we're going to cautiously move forward. And to this decision, we have received various opinions, and people have strong views, and we understand that the community has put forth those views to us. Games are loved by many people. It's a form of entertainment, so we understand those emotions. We want to consider that. And in the future, digital ecosystem, how do we engage the gamers is something that we would like to continue to explore. That was her whole statement about it. It's like 400 words that pretty much say nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, because there's nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Like, we're discontinuing discs. Fucking deal with it, assholes.
I mean,
like,
that's pretty much what she's trying to say without saying
basically a corporate way of saying that. Yeah.
Yeah,
like that was, and maybe this is happening a little earlier than one might expect, but I mean, you were not going to be buying games on disc by 2035. I'll tell you that much. Like, like in what world? And again, yes, the digitization of things is progressing. I think an argument can be made that is progressing against the will of the consumer. I mean, it's just, how else do you get any of this shit anymore? Like, everything's moved to streaming. Yeah, I didn't make that decision. The companies did.
Yeah.
So like, I don't prefer things streaming, really. I would prefer to... I mean, I like the convenience of being able to watch stuff, but I would also like to be able to buy and own the things I like the most. That is one of the problems with me liking Star Wars right now. I would love to own Andor on disc. You cannot legally.
Yeah.
You can't buy it from them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no one really asked for that. It's just sort of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so, like, while I do think the move to no discs is inevitable, if only because of the slow collapse of the retail chain anyway, I don't find that to be a very compelling explanation for this. Because corporations like you are choosing to force that to happen. So, because you'd rather charge us subscription fees for our fucking blender than allow us to own anything. So, what are you going to do?
Well, when I first read this quote, I read it very quickly. And I thought that she was saying that they were working on an evolutionary new way to digitize games. So when I read the quote at first and I started writing the blurb for SIFTD, I wrote and Sony is working on a new way to work around... And I was like, wait a minute. Before I click submit, I'm going to go and read that again. I went back and read it, and that was not what they were saying.
It's because there's so much language in there that just talks about forward thinking, and they want you to feel like it's an innovation to stop doing something.
Well, it was the talk about the advances of digitization. Yeah. I was like, they're announcing something.
But that just means that more people are doing it.
Right. That's all they were talking about.
That's all that means.
They're just like, we're not the only ones. Don't hate us.
Sure is happening a lot. Might as well happen here too.
That is ultimately what it was. Yeah. And then she followed up and she said that publishers will still be able to ship empty boxes with codes inside to stores in markets like North America to help maintain retail relations. Because somebody asked her the other hard question, which is, if you're not selling games at retailers, why would they sell your console? And where are you going to sell your console? And she basically said, like, we're going to keep sending out basically
you'll send boxes with
Grand
codes in
Theft Auto 6 style boxes with codes in them so that they can still sell them at retail.
Right, because the retail stores don't care what they're selling you.
Yeah, as long as people
they
are
don't
buying
care
it.
about discs.
The
they
thing
care
is,
about having a product to sell you and get the money from.
Do you think people are going to buy those?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They already do.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for some games they do. Yeah. Because here's another thing that came out. An organization called Does It Play that does like market research for games, it figured out that 34% of all physical games won't play without a download. So 66% do work, which is actually pretty impressive. But 34% don't. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be 100%.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's still a pretty significant drop.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, to your point about like people still are... 34% of games, if you buy them in there, you aren't really buying the game. You're just buying you really are just buying the key, and that's it. So that's a little funky. And then
that's always been true of online stuff. So.
Yep. And then
nobody owns Destiny.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. And then other people started asking her about like, what's up with your relationship with PC? Are you doing this because you're afraid of the PC market? And you're afraid because they're all digital that you should go all digital because they're more convenient than PlayStation. And her response was, we don't feel that the disc is the factor to differentiate PlayStation from the PC. There's a certain way to play with the PC as a user. It's a long tail. The curated content is one of our strengths. And the game environment being stable, that's another strength. And compared to the high-end gaming PC, our product is more affordable, which it is, but
technically.
And she goes on.
Not as much as it used to be in comparison.
Yep. So we don't feel that the disc itself is a strong factor for differentiation. Going forward, we can coexist peacefully with PC games.
Yeah, I don't think PC games really know you there that much. But, like, I mean, I guess, like, the console thing is I guess it's a little like comforting to know that everyone has the same terrible performance when you buy a console version of a game. You know, Like I've been seeing that for Beasts of
Reincarnation.
I can't fucking remember the name of that game.
It's not very
catchy. It's a terrible name. I've seen like people talking at me like, oh, what's this? Is it because I guess not because it's too demanding, but because it's just not very well optimized and like there's some PC problems or whatever. And people are like, oh, on PlayStation it's fine. But and one guy was like, I have nothing but performance problems on my PS5 Pro. And so, like, but there's sort of that thing about, like, well, if you're getting it on a console game, everyone's getting the same bad frame rate. So I don't feel, as opposed on PC, everyone's like, I can't figure out why this doesn't run right. It runs great for me. You know, like, the day one of a lot of releases, like, PC conversation is just about how to get it to run properly. Yeah. And on a console, you're just like, just go. Just play it.
I mean, I'll be fair.
Frame rate sucks, but a frame rate sucks on everybody's system, so you don't have to feel inferior. So just fucking play the game.
I mean, I'll be fair. Like, I built a gaming PC now. It's been a year and a half or 2 years ago or whatever. And I just kind of assumed that, like, once I got my new gaming PC, I hadn't really had one for, like, 8 years that could really hang. I was like, I'm sure by now everything is much easier. And I will say that, like, building the PC is easier now because the hard drives you just screw onto the motherboard.
Everything's very plug and play.
There's not a lot of wires anymore. That part was easier, but the actual, like, playing of games on PC really hasn't, like, improved all that much over time.
You got to get a lot of different things in place that let you tweak various things.
Yeah,
and
it can be annoying.
You got to know where the INI, how that works. You got to have the NVIDIA app in place, and you got to know how to do. And go into the settings on the different NVIDIA control panel and change that per game. And I mean, but again, like I've been doing that for so long, I don't really think twice about it. But if you've never done it, if you've never done it before, but then every once in a while, like something comes out on PlayStation, and you're just like, oh, I don't need to worry about any of that.
Yeah, it just plays.
Performance or quality.
And
Performance or quality.
Yeah. So there is some value in that, but she's also wrong that she doesn't realize.
But it's also like, what does that have to do with any of this, right? Like.
I don't. Well, they were asking her.
Like, we're not talking about the value of the. It's people that are complaining about this would also like it if PC games came on discs too. Like that's not an answer to that question.
It almost was a little bit of deflection, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Going on here.
Because the actual answer is it doesn't make a lot of economic sense to still print these discs, and it doesn't do us any good. So we're just going to not do it anymore.
Well,
and
she is the CFO,
and we don't care if you like it or not. Like at some point, this Band-Aid had to be ripped off, and they've decided to rip it off in 2028. Maybe that's a little early, but that's what they're doing.
Well, she is the CFO. So she is ultimately responsible for that stuff. And so my guess is she just naturally just flowed into the we're asking $900 for PS5 Pro. Like, you're right, though. Nobody asked about it. She just automatically went there because she knows that people are like, are you freaking crazy? She feels that the sales have flatlined across the globe.
Well, because you're evening the playfield with, like, you know, if people considered having discs to be an advantage over what happened to PC gaming in the last 20-some years, you know, you're eliminating that. And so, like, the only place left to go there, I guess, is to say, like, well, we're still cheaper.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what she did.
And that's kind of it.
And it is, but not by much. And for the performance per dollar, that hasn't added up like it used to.
Not by much, and like even less so when we're moving into the PS6, it looks like. Yeah. So it's like that argument. I mean, obviously, yes, a PS6 is going to be substantially cheaper than a high-end gaming PC.
Yeah.
But a PlayStation 6 is also not going to perform like a high-end gaming PC. So to compare it to a comparable gaming PC, I don't know how much of a margin you're going to see.
Yeah, I don't know if there is one. Yeah, not much. So anyway,
although the Steam machines would indicate that there will be still a significant margin because you're paying higher than but not super out of the range of console prices for those, and they are not performing as well as the PS5.
Yeah, they're not even as well as the base PS5. Yeah. So that, you're right. There's a perfect case study, actually, where you still can't really build a PC, even at scale.
Yeah, it's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
And again, maybe that math would be different if all the components weren't sky high, but that is also affecting the consoles now. So.
Yep.
It all just kind of sucks.
It really sucks. It really does. The industry sucks right now, Matt. It really does. There's no way around it. Here's something else that came out this week. A lot of people are saying, like, okay, Sony, you want to take physical games away? Well, I'm going to start pirating your games. And then that became like a movement last week. And then we saw what happened yesterday with Beast of Reincarnation, where a big game was immediately up on all the ROM sites, blah, blah, blah.
And that was the same thing that happened to Pragmata. It was something was something was unleashed early and wasn't supposed to be, and like it was able to get around that way.
They just cracked PS5 like a month ago. They got Grand Theft Auto 5 running on it. That's the biggest game that you could get running on an emulator for PS5.
Yeah, as a starting point, that is about as good as it gets.
Yep, and that's why they focused on it first. They knew that was the game that mattered the most.
Basically, you want to get GTA 5 and Last of Us 2 up and running on that in that situation, and if you can do that, everything else is
you can get everything else. Yeah, because everything else is so simple compared to those games, the code and everything. So here's what they're saying. And this has become sort of the tagline of these people who are saying, you know what, I'm going to start pirating PlayStation's games. Quote, if we don't own...
I will say that is easier said than done.
It is, yep. Quote, if we don't own what we pay for, then piracy is not illegal.
Yeah, well, also, they've never owned what even when you bought a disc, you were buying a EULA. You weren't buying the game. You were buying a license to run the software.
Yeah. Presumably, you could have your console not connected to the internet, and you could still play it, though.
Yeah, I mean, you still can if you have it installed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, again, nothing precludes you playing it offline when you have a digital copy of this thing if it's installed. That's it.
How do you feel about that statement, though? If you don't own anything, how can they say you're pirating it if you never own it in the first place? If nobody owns anything ever?
Well, the thing is, the corporation owns it. And so if you're stealing it like that, you are still doing something wrong. Like in the eyes of the law.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to fucking call anybody on you.
Yeah,
But it's like, that is still something that is owned by a legal entity, and acquiring it without permission is going to have is theoretically what can have some kind of legal consequence. So I understand the bumper sticker slogan they're throwing out there, but that's not really how the world works.
Yeah, it's not. So. Times Zenny also reminds us that people who pirate have been using that line for the last 8 years. Yeah. Because
also, like, it's just a weak justification because we know that's not why piracy happens. You know, it's like the old the you wouldn't download a car thing. I would absolutely download a car if I could download. If you could download a Ferrari, everyone would download a fucking Ferrari. Everybody knows that. Like, come on, you just can't. And now, I mean, I guess you could 3D print a Ferrari.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't run, but you could. But
it feels like something Tommy Tallarico would do.
Yeah. And look,
I made my Ferrari.
Yeah, I agree with Times Zenny. Like, he's right. They've been saying that for a long time, but it does feel like things have changed now to the point where it might actually have some truth to it.
I mean, it's true in the conceptual sense, but again, in the legal sense, someone does own that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like,
if
you
you do
can't
it, look,
do that.
yeah, let's just say right now, if you do it, you will go to jail. Like if they investigate
Well,
you
no,
and
you
find
won't.
out, well, you won't.
No one who pirates stuff generally, they go after the people that source it. You know, they go after the people who crack it. They go after people that provide it. They go after the people that
the
host
website
them.
owner. Yeah,
like it's too widespread a problem. It's like, you know, the music industry tried that and it did not go well for them.
Yeah, when they started putting like single
random
mothers
people
of
who
3 in
like,
prison for 60 years over one song. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you did get a good sci-fi novel premise out of that.
Yeah.
You recall Rob Reed's book.
Yeah.
Year Zero, where what was it? It's an alien civilization basically respects the laws of the civilization that they encounter, and they all love music. So because humans are terrible to everything except music, so they steal all of the music. Like everyone in the entire universe has an MP3 player with every human song ever on it because it's so good. And then they realize that because of the legal precedent of like cases like that where they charge people like $25,000 per MP3 download, that the entire universe owes the Earth more money than there exists in reality. So someone decides they need to destroy the Earth so they don't owe us all that money anymore.
And he really wrote a book about all that.
It was a whole book about that. It like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style. Like,
it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek type thing.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's like that. I mean, he did co-invent the MP3.
That's why I'm saying, so, he's the one who started all this.
If anyone could write that book, it's him.
This is Morgan Webb's husband we're talking about, by the way, Rob Reed. Yeah.
He was on the ground floor at Listen.com, which was then became or was bought by Real Player, and some of the tech he worked on back then is in every song you listen to digitally.
It's pretty crazy.
It's amazing.
He was paid very well for that.
But he wrote a novel called Year Zero, where the exact premise I just told you takes place. And it's very entertaining and a lot of it's very clever. I do recommend it.
Yep. And so that's pretty much all the updates that we got from the NoDiscNoBuy stuff this week. I think the story is just going to keep on going. Again, I was surprised.
People are not going to stop whining about this until it happens, and they just have to get used to it, I guess.
I think by next year, people will stop complaining.
Probably.
About it. I think by the time we get to like March,
it'll peter out and it'll buff up again
right
when it
end.
Happens.
Yeah.
Like when it's when it goes into effect, and then
when it's way too late to do anything.
What are you going to do? You know.
Yep. And I will say this: if you are really fired up about this still, and I kind of talked about this in a recent episode of the Shane Satterfield show about how it's very easy to get angry about something right away, especially now because you go online on social media. There's all these other people who are just as angry as you are. There's a hashtag you can use. But it's very hard to stay angry about something, even for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. Now think about 18 months. But if you are someone who's still really pissed off about this stuff, and you should be, by the way, it's totally okay to be angry about this.
I don't know if you should be, but it's certainly okay to be.
I mean, I'm angry about it, for sure. Mm. It hurts my production processes and a bunch of stuff. It's not just about the concept of it for me.
You do transfer things between systems a lot.
A lot, yeah. I mean, and just other stuff that for physical that helps us with our production.
Someone think of the content creators. Sony.
They will not.
Come on.
And I don't expect them to. But if you are still angry about it, there is a big protest coming up beginning on August 23rd. They are calling on people to shut down their PlayStations for a week. So from August 23rd to August 30th, really, I don't think they care if you play it. I think the big thing is they don't want you to give PlayStation a penny. So don't use PSN, don't buy anything, blah, blah, blah. They are asking you to shut down your console.
Basically, don't go online with it.
Yeah, so they're asking you for a week to not turn on your PlayStation. You can do it. Good for you. I don't see that affecting anything.
No, people, I'm sure people will do it in their tens, and no one will notice.
Tens of people will do it.
There are dozens of us.
My guess is there'll probably be like 25,000 people or something that do it. And then most of them will,
I'll probably be one of them because I don't really turn the PS5 on much anymore.
And then most people will last for 3 days, and they'll just forget and turn it on and be like, oh, crap, I totally forgot about the boycott, because it doesn't matter that much to them.
Or they'll leave it in sleep mode, which still is just still connected.
Yeah.
You got to turn it off all the way if you're doing that.
Yep. Well, let's check in with you guys and see what y'all are saying about this. This is probably the last time we're going to talk about this for a while, but I can even see in the comments here on Twitch, like, you guys are still fired up about it. It's something you guys still care about a lot.
Until some vigilante guy shows up dressed as a superhero throwing bladed, sharpened CDs at Sony executives or something.
Gune, fun fact, Microsoft funded a study to find the most pirated bootlegged items in the world over a decade ago. Number 1 was Kiwi shoe polish. What?
Wow.
People are making fake shoe polish. That's the most popular thing that's bootlegged.
There's a branded shoe polish. Okay,
that's crazy.
There's a world I don't know anything about.
Erebus says PS5 isn't going to outsell PS4. We're past peak console now. Packer's been saying this for forever, and finally people see it.
Finally, he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was saying that around when the PS4 was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah,
so he said he was about a generation.
Well,
early.
he said the PS4 would be the last great console generation, and from there it would all go down. And so far, he's been right.
I mean, I don't think he's right as a player. I think he's right sales-wise.
Right. That's all he was talking about.
I mean,
he doesn't care about players.
That's not what great means.
Well, to him it does.
That's big. Yeah.
He's all finance. But yeah, Erebus, for sure. There's no way the PS5 is catching PS4 now. Unless maybe they were just miraculously, maybe Trump leaves office and they drop the price down to like $300.
No,
like,
they will. I mean, even if the tariffs go away, like the inflated prices are partly due to the AI bubble, and you're just not going to see those drop anytime soon.
Yep.
Even if that all went away tomorrow, those components still would not drop because they'd be trying to sell them elsewhere for a similar price. Mm-hmm. And the contracts are already signed for most of these upcoming consoles, so they're not. Sony's not going to suddenly get a better price on the things they've already agreed to pay for.
Yep. Well, Sony just bragged that it has enough RAM to make consoles until next year. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. It's crazy. Veritas.
Maybe Sony's trying to impress a girl now. We got so much RAM. RAM for days.
Yeah, ram you with our RAM. Veritas on YouTube says, don't care about discs, but anything to crap on Sony, I'm all for. All right. What else we got here? As always, go at SIFTD Games if you want us to read your question. AJ the Legend Watson. So do you think PS6 will ultimately outsell PS5? No.
Probably not.
I think it's going to be...
As long as the prices on these things keep going up and never come down again, I don't see... I mean, one of the reasons PS4 was able to get that surge was the price dropped eventually.
Yeah.
Not much, but it was better.
Yeah.
And like as these systems no longer have price drops, like you no longer get that long tail of sales.
Yeah, don't forget that when the PS5 launched, the PS4 Pro became huge. Mm-hmm. Like you could sell them for over retail or around retail on eBay because people did not want to upgrade to the PS5 yet because they couldn't see an appreciable difference. And I think it's going to be even worse. PS5 and PS6.
I don't even know what the value add would be, as Pactor might say.
No.
Nope. How do you convince me to spend $1,000+ on the PS6? Like, what is it doing that I should do that for? Like, tell me.
It doesn't even have a disk drive.
Other than like a couple frames more per second, like what is that? What is it doing that makes it worth that? Like, I can't even imagine.
The only way the PS6 outsells the PS5 is if all this stuff gets fixed. The AI bubble pops. Trump's tariffs go away or he leaves office or whatever, then maybe there's a chance of them pricing it at a reasonable price at launch of like $400 or $500. Then it might have a chance of outselling PS5. If that stuff doesn't happen, it has no chance. None. J. Reed Vic 7. It's also hurting game developers who had no hand in the decision Sony made. One of many reasons I would never pirate emulate current games available for sale. And look, don't get me wrong, I would never pirate either. Like, don't think that I'm sitting here saying I'm going to pirate because PlayStation killed... I'm not. Like, I would never do that. I would never pirate this industry. So just want to make sure I put that out there. I'm not advocating for piracy. I'm explaining what their perspective is and discussing it. That's it. Zet Saber Juno, the phrase I hear is, if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing. I mean, that does make sense on some fundamental level.
Sort of, but something's not stealing if you're not taking something from someone who already owns it, and like then you get into the question of like, is stealing software really stealing something that's because the person who owns it still has it because there's a copy of something,
because it's not just one thing,
and then you're like, well, like then you get into the whole like, is every pirated copy of something a lost sale? Obviously not. Yeah. But again, that's not going to get you very far in court.
Nope.
So
court does not give a crap about fancy phrases.
I appreciate the motto there. Look good on a bio card somewhere, but like I don't think
doesn't hold up in the court of law.
I don't think that's going to protect you if
you can say that on the stand all you want. It's not going to save your ass. That's for sure. Noxator United says the not owning thing is just ridiculous. You don't own your house if you have a mortgage. Can I come steal it from you?
Yeah.
That's another good way to look at it. Fight.
Actually,
TJK.
You can, given squatters laws some places.
Actually, you're right. It's crazy what squatters can get away with. Fight TJK, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Appreciate you.
Although a bunch of coyotes have moved into an empty house in West Hollywood,
I saw that.
And I do approve of that.
Me too.
I am in favor of those.
And that
spots.
will keep the squatters out.
Yeah. They got to live somewhere.
That's the solution to squatters. Just put coyotes in your
Well, they
house.
were driven down out of the hills because of the fires, so
Right.
they got to live somewhere.
Yeah, yep.
It's a nice neighborhood.
It is, yes. Erebus Jones says, yes, the price of a high-end PC will be expensive, but as soon as Sony control 100% game prices, the delta between PC game costs and PS game costs will offset the hardware price in no time.
Yeah, that's like the.
Here's the thing.
The real war that's coming is going to be the flex pricing thing, where they start charging you more based on who you are and the data they have on you.
I also think that is what they were getting at when they asked her about PC. Like, it went over her head. She didn't quite get it.
Yeah,
but I think what they're asking is, like, look, like, are you going digital because you're going to have to compete with the price of PC games going forward? Mm-hmm. And she didn't really understand that. Like, she went on some other sort of tangent about the hardware. But I think that's what they were getting at.
Worried about that. Also, I'm pretty sure they don't want to talk about that yet.
Because you do wonder if PlayStation games cost $20 more than a PC game, if people are going to look at that and be like, well, like, I do the math pretty simple here. This gaming PC will cost me $300 or $400 more than a PS6, but after I buy 10 games, I've paid that off, and then I'm good to go. It's gravy, and I'm buying cheaper games for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm talking about surge pricing.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the war.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the disc thing is a red herring. Like, the disc thing, it helps enable that, but it's like, if they were starting to get away with charging extra on digital for things for certain customers, why wouldn't brick and mortar do the same thing?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You're pushing everything up to $80, and then, like, it's going to be like, oh, well, you buy a lot of games, you're a big fan of this series, so it's going to be more than that for you. It's going to be $90 for you.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Yeah. Devin Danger says 83% of PS5 game discs do not require downloads, but 17% would benefit from patches to resolve bugs and stuff. Yeah, I think. Did I bring that up last week on the show?
I think it's a much higher number than 17%. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement.
I sent you that data.
I mean, I'm
in a
sure
text.
83% of them do not require a download out of the box, but I'm going to bet that close to 70% of that 83% has patches you would want to install to play the game.
That improve the game, yeah, for sure.
Like, that's a meaningless statistic.
That 83% is higher than the number I saw. I sent you that number via text like a week or two ago, I think. And it was a little bit lower than that, the number that I found.
And again, I don't think that stat, whatever the number is correct, I don't think that matters at all.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you care so much about game preservation that this is an issue for you, you also care about playing that game in its patched and non-buggy form, which requires a down. So being able to play it as a disc out of the box doesn't actually matter there, unless you want to play the vanilla version of No Man's Sky.
That's a good example to bring up. Squishy Muffin says 7 times $70 for online play / cloud saves is $490. Did she include that? Yeah, she did not, Squishy. And you're right. I mean, you are paying $70 a year to play PlayStation games online and have cloud saves. Because what else do you use PSN for? I get a couple free games a month that I never play.
Also,
that I add to my account. I'm going to play Big Walk.
Speaking of which, we should note that this Sunday, No Man's Sky is 10 years old.
That's insane. It was one of the big games when we first launched. We talked about it a lot. Yeah. It's time just flies by.
I think we got it like several days early from a certain location.
Yeah.
I think so. We were probably playing it around this time by then.
Yeah. Andy T. Monahan says Halo Campaign Evolve wouldn't let you launch it without an update. A single-player game. Yep. Also, I forgot to mention this last week on the show, but another thing that happened to me playing Halo Campaign Evolve was I was in one of the last missions in the game, and I think I was at the end. I had been playing it for like an hour and 10 minutes or whatever. And my wife is like, hey, let's go get dinner or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I just like paused it, turned the TV off, and we left. And we came back from dinner. There was an update waiting there, and it wiped my progress. And I had to play through that whole level all over again. So watch out for that on Halo Campaign Evolve. Like, don't leave it sitting there, because if they issue some little dinky patch or something, it will wipe out where you are. You have to start at the beginning of that level again. Just a pro tip that I forgot to mention last week. But we went so far over last week talking about that
Halo's
game
had
anyway.
that kind of issue for almost its entire existence, where like the levels are such like modular, like self-contained things. And that goes back to Marathon, really.
Yeah.
That if anything happens while you're playing through the level, like you're
done.
Like, you got to start the whole thing over.
And that's
like,
what I had
that
to
has
do.
always been an issue with Halo.
It was very frustrating because, as I had said last week, I was already to the point where I didn't really want to play it anymore, and I was running through the levels at that point, and I got burned. Bushy Wookie, thank you for Twitch Prime, and we'll answer your question. Will games see a resurgence in physical media somewhere into the future? It's happening with music and movies. Probably a pipe dream unless manufacturers make a device that can play them, of course.
That is the issue, is like, because technology moves forward with this particular medium and the things that can play things sort of fall out of favor or get broken or can't be repaired or don't hook up into the TV anymore, that is kind of the problem. It's like, that is not an issue with vinyl. And it is not an issue with, you know, like VHS. Really.
Yeah.
I guess it is an issue with VHS because it's hard to get a VHS player these days.
Yeah.
But, you know, old DVDs.
Yeah.
That's it. There is a market now for old DVDs because there are a lot of people who believe that despite the lower resolution, the color timing is better because a lot of HD remasters and stuff on movies have like flatten the colors or add weird colors or change the way they look, or like do the extra digital noise reduction so everyone looks like they're made of wax. Terminator 2 had a big problem with that for a while. A lot of Arnold stuff has a problem. Like Predator was like that too. There's there's good and bad Blu-ray releases of a bunch of movies where like the first one they put out looks terrible because they ran it through like a digital noise reduction filter and they didn't like pay attention to the original color on these things.
Yeah.
It happens with animation as well. So there is a contingent of like people rising where they prefer the DVD.
Yeah.
Because usually the DVDs were just a straight transfer of whatever like film print there
They didn't
was.
jimmy it at all.
And it didn't have all these weird extra things put into it, which is true. And again, but that goes back to the Matrix where, and people forget this. You remember that obviously the Matrix sequels had like that green tint to them.
Yep.
The original movie did not.
It did not
in the theater,
yeah.
and they added it on the DVD. They
to make it match the other.
To make it match the other two. And
so, not really. It's
and so like but I remember that because I remember seeing it in the theater and then it came out on. I'm like, I don't remember this movie
you're right.
being
It
so
did have
green.
like a tint.
It was
Yeah.
bluer. It was
Yeah.
it was more of a it was a green tone in the Matrix,
almost like
but it was
sepia. I think. Yeah.
And so now there's a version that came out that restores the theatrical color.
Oh, interesting.
Which is happening more and more. But it's like there are people that have bought some of these movies 5 times because they're trying to get the version that has the closest to the theatrical presentation, the original presentation.
Yeah.
So that is an issue, and obviously, the vinyl digital versus analog thing is there. None of those sort of arguments really exist for video games.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like those are just not there.
Like to some people, vinyl sounds better than a CD because it's warm. You hear the pops and the cracks, and it's
a different
experience. Not as sterile.
And I don't like
the tactile
like,
part of putting it on the turntable and lifting the needle. All that stuff makes a difference.
Having something that really is called an album,
right?
Things like that. But like and I don't subscribe to the audiophile weird like use the copper wire.
I honestly don't either.
Or whatever. But I will say the first time I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" on vinyl, it did sound different.
Oh yeah. Like, there's no doubt about it.
There is a difference.
There is, and that's what you have to have. It doesn't even necessarily have to be better.
Yeah.
There has to be a difference.
And I understand look. There's a bunch of emulators or like things they use for like, especially early on for Genesis collections, and all the sounds were wrong.
Yeah,
sounds are completely wrong. That was on the Dreamcast. The first big Genesis collection was on the Dreamcast, and the ring sound effect in Sonic the Hedgehog was wrong.
You can't screw that up.
It was wrong, and I was like, I was furious. Like,
how do you screw that up?
Annalisa was so sick of me that week. She's like, I don't care that the fucking Shinobi Shuriken doesn't sound right. Shut up.
Produce the piece.
But I was like, I couldn't believe it. Because that Genesis sound chip sounds a certain way. That is the closest we get to that sort of vinyl.
Yeah.
But they figured that out.
Right.
That's all in software. You don't need like old hardware for that.
And that's the thing. Like, it has to be different or improve it in some way. Otherwise, there's no reason to go to the other version. Mm-hmm. And playing a disc-based version of a game versus a digital version, there's no difference.
There's not. And again, it's like, what am I going to do? He's like, oh, maybe the colors are a little off on this copy of Soul Calibur that's digital, but do I want to drag my Dreamcast out, find a place to plug in the RCA cables, and like play it like with a controller that barely is like all yellow now? Or do I spend money to like buy new equipment for that? I was like, like it's a lot. How bad is it really?
Yeah.
And again, like I say, the people that care about the color differences on those movies, there's like thousands of them.
Yeah.
In comparison to the number of people that buy Blu-rays or watch things on streaming, they're nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Commander Fett says, I think this was inevitable, and we should be fighting for digital ownership. And I think that is the right way to close this discussion.
That is the place to really fight. Again, digital ownership and consumer protections for surge pricing. Those are your two battles. That's where the war is.
Agreed. And our next topic, we are going to discuss digitization of games. Because somebody else is thinking about it and maybe doing it the right way. But PlayStation right now, that's why it's such a no-brainer for PlayStation to solve this problem by creating its own way to digitize its disc games. Like, it should be working on that. That's why my brain assumed she was talking about it.
Digitized disc. I don't know what that means.
Like,
they're already digitized. That's the problem.
No. Making a digital asset out of what's on the disc.
Well,
so you put the disc in, it basically just creates this digital version of it that you do own and that you can sell and trade.
But that's not a thing. You're not digitizing anything off the disc when you do that. You are basically giving them a license to the digital copy of the game.
That's just a generic term that the industry has decided to use, basically.
Right, but it's not it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's just like if I put whatever disc we're talking about. I don't know.
GTA 5.
Put GTA 5 on my PlayStation, and now I own the digital version because I had the disc. Mm-hmm. And that's it. But it's not like it took anything off the disc. It just
it's not sucking the data off. It's just taking a little piece of information off.
But they're never
going
to do that. Like, no one's ever going to do that.
But who would want to? Who wants to have to haul around that 80 gig file every time they move their game to a new thing? I'd rather just have the key that tells me that I own it.
That lets you download it.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I don't think you're ever going to get a thing where you just plug the disc in and they let you have the digital version forever. Like, that's not... No one...
We'll see. We are going to talk about that in just a second. So, there you go. That's the latest on No Disc, No Buy. And again, a big thanks to VideoGame.Town for sponsoring the headline of the week in every episode of GameFace. Go to VideoGame.Town. That's right, .TOWN. Some of the best games writing anywhere. You'll find it there. Check out their podcast. Check out their Patreon. Go to VideoGame.Town. All right. It's time to move on. And as I just teased, we're going to talk about Xbox next because Xbox has a part to play in all this. But Xbox has some other stuff going on this week that we're also going to discuss first. And the first thing we're going to discuss is that finally they announced the price increases for Europe. So we talked about the price increases for the US in North America, about a month ago on the show, something like that. And they had not announced those numbers for other territories. They did announce them this week. And they are not good people at frickin' all. So in the US... basically how it all broke down at the end of it all was that we were going to be charged an extra $100 for any 512 gigabyte console, and we were going to be charged an extra $150 for any 1 terabyte console. So basically the price increases in the US followed that trend. If it was a 512 gigabyte model, it went up 100. If it was a 1 terabyte model, it went up 150. In Europe, the prices are going up even more. So in Europe, the 512 gigabyte model is going up 150 euro. That's $173 US. Again, you may have forgotten already, it went up $100 US in the US. So in Europe, it's an extra $73 above the price increases in the US to get any 512 gigabyte model of an Xbox. For the 1 terabyte model in Europe of any Xbox, it goes up to 200 euro more for a total of $230 USD. The price increase in the US was $150 USD. That is $80 more in Europe than the US for the 1 terabyte models. The Xbox Series S in Europe,
Series S?
S, is now more expensive than the Switch 2 in Europe. Wait, I have another one here.
Kind of really just feels like they'd like y'all to stop buying Xboxes.
Yeah. The Xbox Series S also costs more now than the Xbox Series X did at launch in Europe. Mm-hmm. So you've now lost the savings that you're supposed to get from the Series S.
Right, because how much was that? How much did the S launch at? $399?
In Europe, I'm not sure, but it was $399 here. Yeah. You doing some math?
Yeah, I want to see how much. Because that was what? That was 2020.
Yep.
I don't see how much foreign in 2020.
Here's something I discovered that's crazy this week, Matt, is that the cost of the PlayStation 6...
$400 in 2020 is worth about $516 today.
Yeah.
So that is still higher than inflation.
Yep. The price of the PlayStation 5, since it launched in 2020, has gone up 30% in less than 6 years. Mm-hmm. The yield on the U.S. bond is 4.8% over that same period. You would have made more money if you invested in PlayStation 5 consoles than if you had put that money in U.S. bonds.
Mm-hmm. Those bonds and CDs and money market accounts have all been flatlined for years. And
you're also tying your money up for X number of time to do that.
18 months to make $200.
Right.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's insane.
That used to be like a big...
Oh, I know.
Like a big... It was a cheat code back in the 90s.
I know. Not anymore.
No.
So... What are we doing here? What is this world that we're living in, Matt? Is this Xbox just saying, like, this generation is over? We don't really care if we sell any more of these?
I mean, I guess. Like, we'd rather not lose money every time we sell one of these, so just, here you go.
So let's not sell them. I mean, that really feels like what's happening.
Because in the end, when anything is not done, will be liquidated, and they can, claim it as a loss and write it off, and that'll be that. And it's not the fault of anyone who's running it now, because they didn't make those decisions. So,
I mean, if you're Xbox, do you want to manufacture any machines right now?
No. I mean, they were saying they couldn't keep up with demand right now, but I don't know
because they had stopped manufacturing them. Would be my guess, and we're like, man, we don't want to sell any more of these at a loss. So why should we make more at a loss?
Also, I feel like that was in the period when they were at the end of the previous pricing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know why you'd pay that kind of money.
I don't either.
For one of these things.
Who would? I wouldn't pay that for a PlayStation 5 either. No. It's bonkers. Like paying this kind of money for a console. To me, it defeats the whole purpose of a console.
So how much is the top level Series X now in Europe?
I actually did not add that to my notes. That's a good question. I do not know. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us out with that. I do not know what the final price is. I just looked at what the price increases were ultimately. I don't know what, to just go into a store and buy a Series X in Europe right now. Like, how much is it? Can somebody in chat help us out with that? And Series S, too, would be a huge help. Soulwax Remix says, my new retirement plan is investing in a stack of game consoles. I mean, seriously. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like a 5 to 6% return on your investment over, 5 or 6 years. It's
if you
crazy.
Can find anyone to buy it.
Erebus says it's €429.99 in the UK right now.
Well, that's pounds.
Yeah, pounds, sorry. So that's probably €450 or €450 probably, something like that.
Disc version Series X is £700 in the UK now.
Wow.
I just bought a PS5 Pro for £780. I can't see anyone paying that much for Series X. Yeah,
No. I'm surprised you paid that for a PS5 Pro. J. Reed Vic says S was $299 back then. Why it's so much less powerful than X? Yep. And Erebus says the Series S launched for $249 in the UK. £249.
So now it's $429.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's insane. This is insane. I try to talk to people. I was at a wedding not that long ago, and everyone was getting drunk at the reception or whatever, and everyone's like, what do you do? What do you do? And I was like, oh, I work in the video game industry. And they're like, oh, that's great. Games are great, blah, blah, blah. How's your industry doing? And I'm like, actually, it's doing really terrible. And they're like, what?
I'm on fire right now.
And they're like, what? Like, what do you mean it's doing terrible? I tried to explain to them that game consoles prices have never gone up, and they could not understand it. I tried to explain it to them 4 times. A circle of guys. I'm like consoles always get cheaper over time.
Yeah,
now they are more expensive over time.
We've never seen them go. We've never seen the same console go up in price over time, multiple times.
They couldn't get it. They're like, "What do you mean? Is it that good for the people who are making? Is that good for Nintendo?" And I'm like, "No, I don't care if it's good for Nintendo. Like, what are you talking about?
What?
They're all.
Is it good if Hyundai starts going up in price? Like, what are you talking
It's
about?
good for Hyundai.
Good for no, because they're not selling as many. Like, that's not how that.
People don't get it.
Why don't rich people understand anything?
I don't know how most rich people have become rich, to be honest with you.
It's like all the fucking. It's like all the fucking CEOs that are worried about I think was it Sam Altman who was talking about? He's really worried that the people that keep applying to his companies just want a job and they don't care about the company and the success. I'm like, what fucking planet are you on?
Someone who's never worked a real job.
If they don't have any fucking stake in the company, why would they give? They're there to get paid, man. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's the funniest thing about corporate America, how they try to make you think that you should care about the company.
No!
It's no, I'm here to get paid so I can go home and enjoy the money. Like, I don't know how to break it to you, but that's the freaking truth. Erebus says the secret to being rich is to have rich parents. I mean, that is 100%. A lot of it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Swan Senpai says Series S
recommend.
Yeah. Swan Senpai says a Series S is €70 more than a Switch 2 at the moment. There you go. That might result in a big sales splurge for Switch 2. Who knows?
It'd probably just result in nothing.
Well, Switch 2 right now is kind of crushing it in Europe. Like, if you look at their weekly charts, its games make up 5 to 6 out of the top 10 pretty much every month. Games doing well
about the hardware. Like, I mean, it feels like a very dormant time for hardware sales. Outside
no matter who you are,
cases,
because by now the casuals have got the message. Like, that stuff's expensive now. Like, it didn't used to be as expensive as it is now. Like, even people who don't know much about gaming know that it's turning into like a rich person's thing.
I think it's been a rich person. I think it's been a rich person's thing for a long time, but it's getting harder and harder to pretend it's not.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because like there was at least a period where you could be like, okay, like a PS5 Pro is a lot, but like we can figure it out. You'll skip lunch a few times, or you're beyond that now.
Yeah.
Like especially in the PS6 pricing realm or whatever Helix ends up like, you're just beyond that now.
Yeah.
Like the Switch 2 is the only thing that feels like it's not going to cause you to have to like choose between video games and food.
And I would buy that now, by the way. I'm just telling you, man, if you got the money...
If you think you want one, you should do it.
You should go now, because I guarantee you the price of Switch is going to go up too.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. So if you're
probably not like this.
No, but it's going to go up.
Like,
I agree. Yep, it's going to happen. And then some other information that came out is that they reported their quarterly report. Xbox revenue dropped $1.7 billion last year. Game Pass down 10% year over year. Matt, I'll just be honest. I really feel like Game Pass just feels kind of dead. I don't know if you've spent a lot of time on there, but I went on there this week. I tried to play this roguelite, like, cooperative shooter called the Abyssus. And usually those games, especially when they first launch on Game Pass, you got to play them. There's just tens of thousands of people playing them, and there's no problem getting I could not get a game. I sat there. I let it sit for 40 minutes and came back. I never got it. There is nobody playing that game. No one. And I've never seen that happen on Game Pass other than the last, like, 2 or 3 months where I go to play something on Game Pass and there aren't people to match up with. So that 10% year over year, it may be higher than that, honestly, like for this year.
By now, like who knows when they're taking that data from.
Right, when they're taking that data from. But it does feel like Game Pass is dead. Like, I go on there and there's just nothing happening. Like,
I mean, the whole Xbox thing seems irrelevant now. Like, do I want to play Fable? 100%. I'm going to play on PC.
Yeah.
Like, what's left?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, that whole PC thing is really the story here. So the other big thing that kind of dropped this week is that something that we talked about, I don't know if it was last week or the week before on GameFace, where we were hearing rumblings about Xbox working on some new backwards compatibility thing for the original Xbox. And then they did some data mining into that code and found that there was an emulator for the Xbox 360 inside the emulator for the original Xbox.
Well, it's the other way around.
Was it?
Yeah, it's an emulator for the 360 that's running an emulator for the original inside it, and that's what's running those original Xbox games.
Well, see, the first thing that they put out to the Xbox early access community or whatever, which I am a part of, was the Xbox one. And they had that code.
But like what they found is that it's a larger program.
So
like
there's a looked at the Xbox one and realized it was a little part of something big.
It's a core in there but the program itself can do 360 if you want it to.
I see.
It's just they haven't done that yet.
That makes sense. And so this week, The Verge, and we like to give credit to anyone who's doing the Lord's work, doing investigative journalism in games. The Verge was handed a document from internal Microsoft that just laid out the whole thing. And so here are some of the details that they discovered from, they're calling it a leaked document, so I guess somebody leaked it to The Verge. But basically this document had been...
1,600 people might get fired anytime soon. There's not a lot of reason to hold stuff quiet.
It is true. And they had sent this to developers, and I guess third-party developers too. And those are the people probably who leaked it out.
Someone's going to leave that shit on a plane. You know that.
Yep. So here's the news. Xbox 360 games will be able to run on the next-gen Project Helix console, Xbox PCs, and handheld devices. And Microsoft is saying it helps build a broader Xbox library that can travel between devices, similar to what's already possible with Steam. It said it helps set up for a future of consoles without disk drives that people can tolerate. and developers can opt.
That's certainly different language than what Sony's using. For that.
And developers can opt into making their games backwards compatible, and they also have the control over things like whether, like a game's price, and if it will be available on Game Pass. So if you if you own ownership of this game, you can go into their interface and just like turn it on and just send it to Game Pass if you want to, which is pretty cool. It gives you flexibility on how you sell your games and who you sell your games to. Now, here's how it works. If a player puts an Xbox One or Xbox Series game on disc into an Xbox One or Series X console with a disc drive, they'll be granted a digital license that's bound to that disc and the player's account. And that was in quotation marks. So they're bound to that disc and the player's account. That's important. The license will stay with the player across Xbox devices. But if the disc changes hands, that was also in quotation marks, the license will transfer to the new person, which means you can basically sell your digital games. There will be a gradual rollout of the Xbox 360 stuff between 2027 and 2028 across next-gen devices, also in quotation marks. The Xbox One version of this stuff is launching in October 2026. So
that's kind of the same thing that already happens. It's just...
Is it?
Yeah, because I can put Arkham Origins in my Xbox and play it right now. It's the same thing, but it basically, you still have to install something. So I guess the implication here is you could play the digital version of the game without the disc in the system.
Yeah.
And then if someone takes that disc and puts it in their system on their account, they own it now, and you wouldn't be able to play it
That's
anymore.
exactly what it is. Yeah, and you lose ownership. And it's just like, basically, like they just bought the game from you, except it's digital instead of a physical thing.
Good way to sell some more hard drives.
It is. But it does kind of solve the problem.
A little bit.
And I'm wondering why PlayStation hasn't, or maybe it is, working on a similar system.
Because they don't care.
And I'll be honest with you, Matt.
PlayStation has never cared about that. Like,
Yeah.
the last time they really cared about backwards compatibility was when they put the Emotion Engine chip in the PlayStation 3. Fat.
Yeah.
And then they just never really... I mean, they eliminated some of that in the subsequent revisions of the PS3, and then they don't even care that there's a bunch of PlayStation 3 games that are unplayable beyond the PS3. Like Sony does not give a shit about that.
But here's the thing, Matt. If Microsoft does this and pulls it off and it works good and everyone's happy with it, does that not give it a huge competitive advantage over PlayStation going forward?
No.
Really?
Because almost no one cares.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right.
I mean, that's it. No one cares. Like, I think that's a cool idea. I would use that for a bunch of my original Xbox games just to not have to take them off the shelf anymore, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, no one gives a shit. I mean, there's thousands of us. That's it. I mean, no one cares. I mean, you're talking about people that have these discs still, even. Like, that's not that many people anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I have giant shelves for all the 360 games that probably won't move again until after I die. But, like, who you know, there's not that many anymore.
Could it bump the needle 5-10% maybe?
No.
No? Really?
I think you'd be lucky to get 1%.
Really?
I don't think it matters.
Because Xbox has driven its brand into the ground.
Yeah.
I do think if it were more
I mean, maybe if the
competitive-
Xbox numbers get low enough, you could get into the 5% range, sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of like being some kind of competitive advantage against Sony, zero, nothing.
I do think if it had maintained more of a competitive edge all this time, that it could move
that
the
could have
needle.
been. That
but
could have been.
You're right. I think it's so far behind now that like people have just written off Xbox. It is it's not even like a viable
And it's
option.
like, okay, great, I can put my copy of Crimson Skies in and play it whenever I want in my $1,000 Series X.
Right.
Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is that value add getting you in comparison to the price hikes we're having to deal with right now? It's just none of it fits together.
Yeah.
None of it works.
To me, it's not even really about the Xbox One and Xbox 360 stuff. It's
Like,
about the
yeah.
Xbox Series X games.
Like
the
at
new
the very least, you're talking about like something that would encourage someone who already owns this hardware to use it more. And like I don't think that really gets them a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't generate any money.
No.
It just keeps them from buying new games. It actually may hurt your bottom line.
Like the closest you can get is maybe they're looking at while they're online with this system doing this, they might look at the store and buy something. That's the closest you can get to that driving some kind of revenue.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
not. But that's not something that wins the war. It's not even something that fights the war. It's just moving the deck chairs around on the Titanic at this point. Now,
what about PlayStation? If PlayStation were to do this, could it move the needle for PlayStation?
Probably not, because most of the stuff that I think people would be interested in for that, like, and it would still be a small group of people, but like the most of the stuff I can think of that I'd be interested in being able to do that with wouldn't work on PlayStation 4 and 5. They're all PlayStation 3 stuff. They're all old. I mean, that's one of the interesting things about this with the Xbox thing is you're talking about original Xbox. You're talking about 25-year-old games, and that's it's not common that something supports that.
Yeah.
Certainly not in a user-friendly way like what they're describing on there, assuming that is actually what happens. And I'm sure it'll be a very limited number of games that works with and all, etc. We've already had the 4 that they've announced or are already
for
available.
original Xbox,
which is good. It's a good first step. Crimson Skies is great. Like, that's awesome. But like, is one of those things going to be Jet Set Radio Future? Is one going to be
It's work.
Halo 2?
It doesn't. You can still snap your fingers and it happens.
Right.
Like, you have to actually pay people to do some of this stuff.
And like, they've been pretty good about making older games available for like digital purchase and things, or being able to put your old disc in and making it work properly. But like, Sony doesn't have any. Like, that would be more work for Sony because you'd have to be porting PS3 games. Like if you're talking about games that I'd want to do that with Sony with that I own on disc, you're talking about the Infamous games, you're talking about the Resistance games, you're talking about the Killzone games, and these are all games that don't fucking work on the modern architecture. Like, that's the one thing that they have this emulator in place to do that. Theoretically, you could have an emulator in place that would do that for PlayStation, but I don't think Sony cares about that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
Like, if Sony announced something equivalent of that, like they're like, oh, you're gonna be able to do that, or like, we made this PlayStation 3 emulator, so now we're gonna sell you even if it's just like, here, $20 for every each Infamous game.
Yeah.
You can't use your old disc. It's nothing like that. But like, I'd be satisfied with that. I'd be like, let me rebuy these old PlayStation games for $20 each to be able to play on a modern system. I'd do that too. But I don't think Sony will even go that far. I mean, it's a minor miracle that Konami's putting Metal Gear Solid 4 on this collection.
I'm not as concerned about the backwards compatibility stuff. I have a PS3 that plays all its old consoles. I have an Xbox Series that plays.
So do I, but I would love to not have to go in the other room to do that with PlayStation 3. Also, PlayStation 3 kind of sucked, and some of the stuff they've brought forward from PS2 and PS3 have little quality of life improvements that you expect from a minor remaster, like the Star Wars games and stuff. Just the fact that they run at a steady frame rate. Like, I'd love to play Infamous with a better frame rate. That would be nice. Just something that runs steady.
I mean, I understand the case for that stuff, but I'm more concerned about.
But none of that matters in terms of the larger marketplace war.
But I'm more concerned about buying a PS5 game and owning it instead of not owning it. And I think that's what definitely the people with NoDiscNoBuy. That's what they're concerned about. They're not concerned about backwards compatibility with PS2 and PS3.
Well, those are two different questions.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if PlayStation were to do this because of that, would it get a bump? Because you don't think so? Not even for PlayStation.
I don't think those two things are related. You mean like PlayStation 5 discs?
Yeah. Yeah, being able to digitize them and own a digital copy that you can sell to people.
What's the difference?
Between talking about a PS3 game?
Well, yeah, like, what's the difference there with, like...
No, I'm just saying, if they do the same thing that Xbox is talking about doing, would that help them? You said it wouldn't help Xbox, but would it help PlayStation?
I just don't know what the difference is. It's like, what's the
difference?
There's
no difference. If they did the same exact thing as Xbox.
But
basically, I can put my disc in, it turns it into a digital file that I then own, and then I can sell it on the PlayStation Marketplace to other people, and they
can't do that anyway.
What?
Like, what?
No, Microsoft is working on that right now.
You are not going to be able to sell the digital copy of that.
Yes. No. We just talked about this, Matt.
How would you're going to sell the disc, the physical disc, and then if someone else puts that disc in, it's going to create the digital copy for them.
I don't know, actually.
And they will take it away from you.
That's actually a good
how that
question.
Works.
I don't know.
No, that is how that works. You're not going to be able to sell the digital copy because then you just put the disc back in and create a new digital copy. Or what would happen to the disc? The disc
that's
is
still
useless
okay,
then?
though. I mean, that's still okay. You still own the game and you can sell it.
Right, but the point is, you don't have to put the disc in every time you want to play that game anymore. But if you get rid of the disc and someone else reinstalls it, you lose that.
Yeah, but that's not the point of my question. The point of my question is, if you own your game still on PlayStation, will that make a difference for PlayStation?
I don't know what you're asking because that's already how a disc works on a PlayStation 5.
But they're going away.
Right.
Yeah. So
they're going away. So it's not.
So if you buy, my point is, if you buy a digital PlayStation game and if you're allowed to own it and sell it to somebody else, would that help PlayStation sales?
That is a completely different question because that's not
you're
what
not putting
Microsoft
the disc
is
in.
doing.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking about being able to buy and sell a digital copy, which is a completely different
That's
subject.
exactly what I'm asking. Yeah.
Probably, but they'll never do that.
You don't think so?
Why would you? No one lets you do that.
But you couldn't make duplicates because they know that one disc has already made the digital version. They wouldn't let you make.
There would be no disc involved, is what I'm saying. Like, you're just talking about selling a digital copy.
Yeah.
So why would they ever let you do that?
Why would they not let you do it?
Because it's too easy to exploit.
How?
Yeah, why wouldn't they just?
If that digital copy is thumbprinted to an owner,
it doesn't do them any good because it's not in their interest. Like they've sold you the digital copy, right?
Mm-hmm.
why would they want to let you get a cut?
Well, I know it's not
selling...
going to help them financially.
Right.
I'm saying it would be for the fans and for PR for them to do this.
Who gives a shit?
Well,
they don't give a shit about that. We're talking about thousands of people.
This is the answer I was trying to get.
It doesn't
This is
matter.
where I was trying to go.
I'm just every question you ask like that for the next 2 years, just assume the answer to that is Sony doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because that is the answer.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you, Matt. I think a lot of people need to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they believe it. I think a lot of people still think that Sony is like their buddy.
You're right. I mean, despite how often we say corporations are not your friends.
Yeah.
Like that,
People don't get
you're
it.
right. They do think that.
Yeah.
It's also why people are so upset about the Xbox thing. They can't believe their friend did that to them.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've been saying that shit for 20-some years.
Yeah,
Companies
of
are
course.
not your friends.
Of course.
Because we have to work in the industry and we know what's really up.
We've worked for companies. We
have.
know they're not our friends.
Gaming companies. Yeah.
Not just every company.
Yeah.
Every company.
That's true. It's not just gaming
We didn't work for a
companies.
gaming company. I worked for Comcast. You worked for Verizon. They were not our friends either. I promise you.
That's true. Yep. 82 Monahan says the license changes hands. Oh, I lost him there. The license changes hands when you sell your disc, and that other person then converts it to digital.
Yeah, and then they take the digital copy away from you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you could theoretically just throw the disc out the window, and if
Yeah.
someone picked it up and put it in a machine somewhere, you'd suddenly just lose your copy of that game.
Yeah, because then they could put that in there.
Because it would then be attached to their account.
To be fair, though, I mean, that's the same thing that would happen with the physical game if you accidentally left it outside.
Well, it's the exact same thing.
It's
yeah.
the same thing, yeah.
I mean, it's more for convenience of like you don't have to swap discs every time you want to play an old game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's and which is again, as someone who does play old games sometimes, I appreciate
That's a nice
that.
feature. Yeah.
I would have liked. There was a period where I was replaying all the Arkham games, and to play Arkham Origins, well, I ended up buying it cheap on Steam in the end. But for a while, I was playing it by putting the 360 disc in the Series X and playing it backwards compatible that way. But I had to have the disc in. Because there is no digital version of Arkham Origins.
It has to be the handshake there, yeah.
There was no digital version of Arkham
you have to play
Origins.
it from the disc.
You have to play it from the disc. Because
Yeah.
they never, for whatever reason, did a modern digital version of that.
Yeah.
And so I had to have the disc in the whole time. If I could have put it in, created a digital copy, and put the disc back on the shelf and not worried about it until I was done with the game, then deleted it, that would be great.
Yeah.
That'd
be a nice feature.
But how many people care about that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to be one of, 40 people that have done that with Arkham Origins.
Right.
You know, that is not a very widespread complaint, I have to imagine.
No,
Probably,
definitely not.
certainly not as widespread as, why am I paying almost $1,000 for this fucking thing? So it does feel like slapping a Band-Aid on the side of the ship after you've hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring the Titanic up over and over again. I don't know why. I can't imagine what the comparison is, but it does sort of feel like we might need to go look for some lifeboats soon.
Tiny Blip in History says Sony was just a lesser evil at the time when people bought their PS5s. I mean, Sony was very good with this messaging at the PS4 era.
Sony, again, also, I do think there's momentum of you want to play Sony's games.
Yeah.
You want to play Sony's first-party
Even though we
games.
hardly get
You
them
didn't
anymore.
know that they weren't going to do
Put one
any.
out every
it's
4
like-
years. J Reed Vic 7 says moving the needle shouldn't be the frame, especially at the likely cost of the next generation consoles. Nothing is going to move the needle at $1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Even GTA couldn't punch through that, especially in these times and economy. Agreed. Yeah, I agree with you.
We'll find out.
Yep. And then Gune says
Because you'd
publishers aren't
expect,
going for Microsoft.
you'd expect GTA 6 to create a surge in console sales.
Yeah.
In any situation.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if that actually happens.
It's going to be muted for sure. There's no doubt about it. They are not going to sell as many as they would have, without a doubt.
I'll tell you this much. It's going to take some kind of leak or some kind of Schreier digging or something to find out what the internal expectations for that were versus reality.
No, you're right.
Because they'll never tell you what they were hoping for.
Pachter may get it. He has really good connections inside Take-Two. Really
I would be very
good.
interested to find out what Take-Two thinks that number should be versus what they think it will be versus what it actually turns out to be.
Yeah.
But also, let's not forget, it's not impossible to have a runaway hit right now. People will pay for entertainment they think is worth it. Spider-Man.
Yeah. We're about to talk about Spider-Man.
The biggest...
It's in the rundown.
Yeah. Biggest opening of all time.
Yeah.
Of a superhero movie, which I was told everyone was sick of.
Right.
It's almost like people just want to watch and play good things.
They just want Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man is more popular than every other superhero in the world put together minus Batman.
Yeah.
So people forget that. But again, if Field of Dreams was correct. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. Some will. Not as many as you may hope, though.
But in this case, enough to beat Endgame, which I didn't think was possible in this economy. With no IMAX screenings.
Right. It's crazy.
That's the other thing about that is, Doomsday's got his fucking bar set now.
It really does.
There's no
but
excuse
it could also
anymore.
help that.
It's the best lead-in they could have, but it's the bar is set now.
It is.
It's like Spider-Man did this by himself.
You can still do it.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. What's Doomsday gonna do?
Yep. Cinetite says they also should have done this years ago. It's almost like they are not a software company. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. It's also interesting to me that like the new management comes in and this is like one of the first things they get rolling. It's like, okay, like I imagine this was in the works already because clearly there's some tech here that had to be worked out to be able to roll out by this October.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting that the new management looked at that and was like, yeah, we'll still do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to, really.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
well, I think right now they're
makes it
trying...
look a little more consumer friendly at a time when you really don't.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're like, man, any bone we can throw to our fans right now so we don't lose them, let's do it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like we've already worked on it. There's no cost going forward.
Yeah, it's
like,
already in place.
Yeah,
And clearly
let's just put it out there.
This initiative probably started like 3 years ago or something. So.
And she just came in on the tail end of it. It's like, let's just get it out there. Like, AJ the Legend Watson asked, do you see the only on tagline being represented on the majority of next-gen games? I just don't see it. I mean, on PlayStation you will.
PlayStation for sure. Switch for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because Nintendo's never going to put its first party game somewhere
Nintendo's first-party
else.
stuff's never going anywhere.
But Xbox, no. I mean, no.
No, not really.
It just rebuffed fans recently whenever it made sure to include logos from other platforms.
I mean, they will.
Like
Fable is going to be that. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some stuff like that.
Well, once they said that, like, Gears of War E-Day was an Xbox exclusive, and
they said they're going back to
Clockwork
it.
Revolution was. I think a lot of Xbox fans thought, well, hey, maybe they're going to do everything that way in the future. I don't see it happening.
No, I think they're going to pick and choose that for the most part. And sometimes it'll be stuff they think is going to be advantageous for the brand to keep it there, like Gears of War. And sometimes I think they're just going to see it as not worth doing it on all the other platforms, like Clockwork Revolution.
Yep. So anyway, there's the latest on Xbox. It really sucks that we just, every time we talk about something, we have to deliver bad news about stuff. It's just like, this is kind of good news that Xbox is trying to do something for us, but
it's
in the
for
end,
a very small sliver of people.
It is a very small sliver.
Even Dean, one of the people who would probably take advantage of that, it's like there's not enough of us to match.
Yeah,
it's
I have a gigantic
like,
Xbox
I
360
appreciate it,
catalog.
but it's like,
yeah.
And
I am not the needle mover.
Yeah.
Like, I am niche.
Also, a ton of that stuff I have already replaced with like a PC version.
Yeah.
Because I never thought they were going to do something like this, and that was, the PC versions of these things have been $5 multiple times, and that's
like, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's already
hard to
there.
say no.
What's the point?
Yep. Well, there you go. That's the latest on Xbox. Again, I wish we could start delivering some good news to you guys here on GameFace. Hopefully, things can
It's
start
going to be a while before we
turning
get some good
around.
Xbox news.
It does feel like that's
the
the
next
case.
good Xbox news feels like it would be Fable's good.
Right.
And that's next year.
Or Gears of War E-Day is really good.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good assumption at this point.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of find out.
But
this
you're right.
weekend.
Fable's more of a wild card.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Gears of War E-Day here in a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess you probably find out that to some degree this weekend.
This weekend. Yep. And I forgot to mention that too in housekeeping. And I was just going to mention it in our Gears section, but there is a Gears of War E-Day beta happening for, this weekend if you're a Game Pass subscriber. It kicks off on the 6th, so just a couple days from now. You'll be able to play Gears multiplayer, and we're going to preview Gears multiplayer here in just a couple minutes on the show. But first, we have something else to discuss. And Matt, this week has just been a gigantic week for video game, movies, TV shows, as far as new news about some of the stuff that people are really excited about. And
Comic-Con.
Yep. So I kind of picked up on it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's an interesting topic for GameFace. So I went to our culture channel, and if you want to know, on SIFTD, we have a whole channel dedicated to just stuff like this. Toys around video games, films, TV shows, cultural stuff around communities and stuff like that. That is our culture channel on SIFTD. You won't find it anywhere else. I promise you 1,000,000,000 times. Just like our Japan channel, you won't find anywhere else. Anyway. So I went to the culture channel, and I was like, this has been a crazy week for video game culture stuff. And I started scrolling down, and I realized it had been like 5 weeks in a row of crazy culture stuff. Like, basically what's happened is, it feels to me, Matt, like video games have begun replacing comic books as the pop culture content du jour, whether it's TV.
You kind of milk the comic book stuff as far as it'll go, unless you're talking about starting to adapt some of these dark horse things from the 90s, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Grendel movie at some point. But just about every major comic property of the mainstream big two has had some kind of adaptation.
So we got tons of big news, and so
even Todd McFarlane constantly claims there's a Spawn thing coming. I don't know if you saw that, where he's been talking about a new Spawn movie for years. He's been talking about a new anime. And he just said that we have a new animated series. Keith David recorded all the lines for Spawn. It's all done except the animation. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think you're doing things backwards, buddy.
We've got this movie done, except we haven't shot it yet, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, dude.
Yeah, he must not work in film very often.
It's stunning to me that in this like renaissance of comic book stuff, that Spawn has never resurfaced.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is kind of crazy. Yep. So anyway, we got a deluge of news around video game related TV shows and films, and we're going to discuss some of those, and then we're going to finish this whole section off with Matt's review of the new Spider-Man film. So we actually set aside some time for your review for a film this week. That
is a slow week.
Well, no, I think this movie is gigantic.
It is the biggest thing of all time.
Yeah, and I think it's worth giving a little bit of time to. So, but first, let's talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. One of the, I don't know, to me anyway, the biggest news that we got around this kind of stuff this week is that Dave Bautista, Drax, from Guardians of the Galaxy, is reportedly in talks to replace Ryan Hurst as Kratos in the God of War series for Amazon Prime. Now, apparently Ryan Hurst is injured.
Yeah, he was injured on the set.
And that happened to Sophie Turner as well on the set of Tomb Raider. Like, she went out for like a month and a half. She came back. But Ryan Hurst is not coming back.
Also happened to Tom Holland. I think he broke his arm.
That's right.
On that.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So Dave Bautista, how do you feel about him as a replacement for Kratos?
I mean, I'm kind of on two minds on that one, because he's a great actor. I think he's very, very good. He would play the hell out of Kratos. I don't think he looks like Kratos.
Yeah, he's too short, I think.
He's not short. He's not that short, but
no?
I think his face is not the right shape, which I know is a very petty complaint.
Because it's more round,
It's a more rounded face. Yeah, I don't think he looks like Kratos. Mm-hmm. Which is
luckily I managed to find.
And remember, people can look as tall as you want them to on camera. Like, you can't tell how tall someone is on camera.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise is a perfect example of that. He's very short, but nobody knows unless you see him at an award show or something like that, or on the red carpet. Like, the way they shoot a lot of his stuff, they shoot it with an up angle.
Yeah,
so
he's 6'4".
Is he?
He's not small. He's a wrestler. Like, those guys are big.
He always looks short to me for some reason.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's partly his structure.
Yeah, because he's so wide.
But no, he's 6'4".
Oh, okay.
His build height is 6'6".
Oh, wow.
In wrestling.
I mean, then he's plenty big enough to play Kratos.
Yeah, of course. It's just I don't think he looks like Kratos.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's built like Kratos, but he doesn't look like Kratos. The other guy looked like him. I don't know.
He looked more like him for
you
sure.
throw a beard on the guy, and maybe he just looks like him anyway. You know, put the beard and the gray and red on him, and maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the more important thing is that his performance will be fantastic.
Great. Yeah,
because he is of all the wrestlers turned actors, he's probably the best one dramatically speaking. I think Cena's the best comedic one, and I think Bautista's the best dramatic one. And Bautista has kind of proven that he can play pretty much anything.
Yeah, he really is.
So
pretty good. I've been impressed with him.
So if they can work out like a way to kind of like work with the makeup and the hair and everything to kind of make his face look a little more Kratos-y. Perform as an actor, he's perfect choice.
I think it's a better choice for the show as far as generating interest.
Yeah, I mean,
tapping into his big social media following.
I don't know who the other guy was.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is.
I mean, he sure looks like Kratos.
He does, yeah.
But like, I don't know how good of an actor. I've never seen him in anything as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Bautista wants to do it, like he's an excellent get.
Yep. I think it was a great choice.
It'll certainly help the show, and he can make the rounds, and people care what he says, and non-gaming and non-nerd outlets will pick up what he says because he's a celebrity that gets talked about in those circles. So it's probably nothing but good for the God of War show.
I think so too. We also got the first look at Blanca in the upcoming Street Fighter film. I hope I don't get a copy strike for this.
And Maximilian Dude.
Yeah.
Did you see him in there?
Yeah.
There's some fighting game YouTubers in the audience in this clip,
which is cool.
That's Maximilian. That's Max going, "Let's fucking go!" It's cool that they got those.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's good to get the community involved and all that kind of stuff. It also helps with social media and things like that. When the movie comes out, he'll make sure to tweet it out and blah blah blah. So that all matters. But then there's Blanca.
Here's Momoa.
Momoa is
just
Blanca.
Having a good time, as he always does.
How do you feel? Do you think he looks all right?
Yeah, he looks fine.
A lot of people said it's too digital. They think he looks too fake.
He looks like he's Blanca. Of course he looks fake.
I mean, what is Blanca?
He's always going to look like that. Like,
actually, what the hell is Blanca?
Nobody fucking knows.
They've never said.
Why is he green?
I don't know.
He was yellow. Fuck you. He was yellow in Street Fighter 2. And all of a sudden, I know all the official art was green.
Yeah.
Even then.
Yeah.
But that character sprite is
You're
yellow.
right. I know.
It's yellow greenish, but it's not like that's like pine green. He's
I
been
know.
pine green in the art, and he's been yellow and then all of a sudden he turned green. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you excited for this movie?
No, it looks terrible.
It really looks terrible.
But you know what? That's sort of what it should be. It looks like what it should be.
Do you think it's going to be so bad it's good?
I think it's going to be a bit of a hit.
It'll be close, yeah.
Because if you know Street Fighter, you look at this and you recognize everything.
Yeah.
Again, you look at all the characters in this and you know who they are.
Yeah.
And that is really all that needs to happen. I mean, again,
Ryo's so skinny too in this.
He is very, but again, they used to be. They were skinny. Yeah, he and Ken were not
them up
big.
over time.
Yeah, they didn't hit their daddy phases until more like Street Fighter 5-ish. You know?
Yeah. Dad bod.
I mean, I think the fact that they are taking all the stuff in this series and they are basically like saying, "Hey, this all is really stupid." And we're going to lean as hard into that as we possibly can in the way that these old school like kung fu movies used to do. Like, that's exactly the right attitude. And I'll remind you, that's exactly how the original Mortal Kombat became a hit.
Yeah,
because
right.
People made that the 90s Mortal Kombat, looked at that game and were like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And we're going to make the movie they inspired. They basically, like, they were inspired by those old, kung fu movies and everything, the fighting tournament movies. And they just made that. And they didn't make it any more pretentious or any less than that. And that is exactly what that Mortal Kombat movie needed to be.
Yeah.
And they slapped that the Immortals techno remix with the Mortal Kombat theme on it, and fucking history was made. So who knows? I mean, this is probably it's got to be better than the original.
I do like how he has the double like drop kick move.
Oh yeah, they got all of it in there. You can see in the trailers, everybody's doing their signature stuff.
Yeah. He does his crazy thing.
You get that thing. I mean, they're all in there.
Yeah.
I mean, in the original, all you got in terms of that was at the very end, everybody in the group shot did the wind pose.
Right, yeah.
Will anything in this movie be as iconic as Raul Julia say for Bison it was Tuesday? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because Raul Julia was a great actor.
Yeah.
And did that role just to make his kids happy.
Yep.
But while he was dying.
Yeah.
Which is why he looks so skinny in that, because he had cancer.
Yeah.
Also, one of the best parts of the original Street Fighter movie is Ice Cube's Street Fighter song on the soundtrack, which no one really remembers, but I remember.
I had to think about it for a second.
Because punk-ass ninjas can't wait to see the ice break.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I love that song.
It's funny.
Because it was from '94. It was before it was cool to admit you liked all this stupid, like this
geeky
dumb
stuff.
geeky shit. And he just did this. It's just a song
Straight
that
up
mentions
song.
every single martial arts movie you can think of, and all these different cliches. And you're like, oh, it was like Wu-Tang. It was like when Wu-Tang was like, oh, these guys watch all the same
they
movies
actually
I
do watch the movies.
Like, because the references are so deep.
They
and it's
are,
like,
yeah.
But like, yeah, so I do have a fondness for that.
Yeah.
Also, the Chage and Asuka song, Something There, which is a terrible song, but I love it because it's part of that was a music video, was that the reward for finishing the Street Fighter the movie game on Saturn.
I don't remember this at all.
It's a terrible song from a Japanese pop duo that if you finish, I think if you finish the Saturn version of Street Fighter the movie, the fighting game, it plays the music. If you finish it with no continues, it plays the music video for this song, and it's like this weird black and white music video in a warehouse where everyone's dancing with chains hanging from the ceiling, and a bunch of the people from the movie are in it. Like all
sounds like the rave from the Matrix.
It is
movie.
sort of like that, except it's like Japanese like rock pop.
Oh,
and
geez.
it's with
butt rock.
It's not that though.
No?
It's more melodic. It's like it's hard to describe, but I will say this. I was driving around with one of my friends, and she puts up with all my whatever. The only song and it's not like it's blasting. It's just happened to be on the radio. The only song she has ever stopped me in the car and be like, "What are we listening to?" Is that song?
I believe it.
So,
that's funny.
I'll play it for you after the show.
Okay.
One of the things I love about it is every once in a while it just cuts. It's all in black and white and very artsy, and every once in a while it just cuts back to a shot of a tarantula walking on the floor. for reasons.
No reason. That's funny.
So what I'm saying is the bar's not super high for this movie, and like it looks dumb, but it looks fun, and it's just sort of. I mean, again, will people want to pay theater prices for that? Because remember, you going out with two people go out to a movie in the evening. At this point, you're talking about if you buy food or anything, you're talking about $200.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll have a big opening weekend, and I think then after that
it'll depend what else is kind of out at the time and stuff. I haven't really paid attention to that, but like
that is coming October 16th, by the way.
Put it this way, I am kind of interested in, but I don't know if I want to pay.
I will not
theater
pay.
ticket
I will wait and stream it for sure.
Like the only reason I'd really do that is to be able to complain about it on the show the following Tuesday.
Fair enough. Next up is the Elden Ring film. It wrapped shooting this week after 6 months of shooting.
The dude has a vision. Apparently.
What does that make you think? Like, to me, it's either it's a disaster and they took way too long to shoot it, or it's going to be like a freaking masterpiece. Like,
hard to say.
6 months is a long time to shoot a film. I was surprised by that for Elden Ring.
There's real talent on this. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
A24 is handling it, right?
Yeah, let's not bother with that. But I mean the people actually making it. I mean, it's a long way out. But like...
it's still like, what, a year and a half or 2 years?
It's 2028. So whatever they're doing is going to have a lot of post-production. But like, I mean, it's Alex Garland.
Yeah.
Writing and directing. That's He's not everything's gold from him, but he's pretty fucking good.
Well, they definitely haven't skipped.
This is why we're having to wait for the third 28 Years Later movie.
Right.
He's doing this in the meantime.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited by it. I think it having taken 6 months to shoot it is a good sign generally. So
yeah.
It shows that they're at least investing a good budget.
And Garland does take his stuff. Remember, this is a man who learned how to direct films because he was so upset with how The Beach turned out.
Right.
Remember, he wrote the book that's based on.
Yeah, yeah.
And he hated the movie so much, he's like, I'm going to make sure that never happens to me again. I'm just going to direct my own shit. So clearly this is something that means something to him. Because Alex Garland doesn't take on projects that aren't important to him. It's just who he is.
Yeah.
And how he chooses his work. So I can't imagine how I'd make an Elden Ring movie.
I can't either.
You know, if anyone can do it, it's probably this dude.
A war from which no lord arose. There you go. There's your plot.
Yeah.
Have a war where nobody wins. And then...
That's every From backstory. Though.
It is, yeah. And then the lead actor who plays Link in the Legend of Zelda film admitted this week that he has not played any Zelda games. And the crazy part, Matt, was that he said he was too young when Breath of the Wild came out. That he did not play it, and he just has not played Tears of the Kingdom either. So he's never played a Zelda game. Does that matter?
No.
Playing Link, it doesn't, because you're playing a mute.
What are you trying to capture? I mean, all you got to do is watch footage of it.
And be able to grunt.
Everyone can go, ah!
I mean, that's a little tough, honestly, if you're an actor who hasn't played the games, and you go and play the games or check out the games and figure out how to play.
There's nothing here.
He just grunts every once in a while.
He just sleeps a lot. And adjusts his pants sometimes.
Yeah. It seemed like fans got kind of bent out of shape over this.
You don't need to know jack shit about the games to play this character. Give me a break.
Not at all.
There's no anything in these games.
There's not.
The story is as light as it gets.
He's like a blank page, basically. You can pretty much be whatever you want. But here's the thing, like, it's really important.
You can come in just doing the excuse me princess shit and be fine. Doesn't matter.
I mean, he's about to lay down the template for what Link is for you know all the films. It's a big deal. But I don't know
what he is in everything going forward, really. I mean,
that's a lot of trust to put in.
Because remember, Nintendo is basically Miyamoto has basically said we consider the movies the way people will remember these franchises from now on.
He also said this week that he no longer plays video games.
Well,
that bothered me.
What should he be playing?
I mean, anything. It feels like he's just lost interest in the art form. He said he plays every once in a while when his grandkids come over, but otherwise he never plays anymore.
He served his time.
Yeah, I mean, no one can say he didn't, but it just bums me out to think that somebody who was so good at it and made so many memorable moments for me has no interest in it anymore. It's like, when I'm 80, am I going to lose interest in games?
Well, you didn't make games.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing.
It's a difference.
It's a different thing.
It's a grind.
It's like, are you going to get not interested in reading books? Probably not. But you know what? George R. Martin sure is sick of writing them.
Yeah. And look, I don't blame him for quitting making games. I get it. You know, creatively, you want to move on to new
But
pursuits.
that's probably part of it, man.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing new stuff, you know him. He's probably, you know, that's probably the way he would be like, oh, I could do this instead. I could do something different. Like maybe he just doesn't want to get any more inspiration.
Well, he's all about the films now, so
Yeah.
hopefully he can help shape the Zelda film into something that
I mean,
it
if
should
I
be.
was his age and I'd done what he'd done, I'd be like, my last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shape the legacy of all these things I created in the major culture going forward, and I think that is an admirable way to close out a career.
Yeah.
Like, I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah. I think I was just reflecting on myself, and I was like, man, I could never see myself like just not, like, I get it. Not wanting to make games, it is a grind, and he definitely put it in his time, but I just could not ever see myself just not wanting to play at all. Like,
He's probably busy.
yeah. He
tired.
probably is. Yeah. It just bummed me out.
Making movies is hard.
It is hard, for sure. So anyway, that's the latest on all the big films and TV shows. We did not mention the Fallout show because we don't have any information on that. But the other big story this week is that the new Spider-Man film, is it called Brand New Day,
Yeah.
the subtitle? Was it Holland who shared that, like, they took a lot of the combat stuff from Insomniac's games to put it into the film?
That was part of the inspiration, yeah. And it was a combination of that and the fact that he came back from the Odyssey realizing that you can go into a major blockbuster shoot knowing what you want to shoot first.
Right.
And his other thing was like, how, because you wouldn't know it from watching the Odyssey, really, because Nolan still isn't very good at fight scenes, I don't think. But apparently they got all the choreography down and they shot a master take of the fights, like as like, you know, a whole, they just go through the whole thing and get that and then do the insert stuff, which is generally how you want to do a big well done fight scene.
Yeah.
And he came back to Spider-Man being like, why don't we do that for these? Like, why don't we do all the choreography, get the whole thing down, and then like shoot, you know,
The
fill in what we need.
His sides.
So he kind of, and they rewrote a bunch of the script, and like he came back from working with Nolan like a changed man, basically, and it improved,
I'm not surprised to hear that at all.
and it clearly improved the product in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there is you can definitely see that they're using more stuff, like the more athletic kind of stuff. I mean, he's interested in that anyway because he was a gymnast when he was younger. He can do a lot of that stuff himself. A lot of that, he does.
Break his arm.
Yeah, that's probably why he did it. How he did it, rather.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can definitely see the inspiration of that. You can see that in some of how they use the web stuff. Is more like what you see in the
What
game.
about like cameras with tracking shots and stuff?
Sort of, not. I mean, there's no shot in this I would call a video game shot, but it does show. It does show him swinging through New York better than any movie ever has.
Cool.
I
haven't seen it yet.
This is the most Spider-Man movie of all time.
Wow.
Like, this is, in terms of capturing the character from the comics, this is the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Wow. That's great to hear.
This is the best Spider-Man movie ever made, period.
Now, to be honest, a lot of them are pretty bad.
A lot of them are pretty bad. And I don't think, I am apparently a bit of an outlier, at least on the internet, in that I don't think the Raimi movies have aged very well.
Really?
I still like them. They remind me of a good time. I think Spider-Man 2 single-handedly made me understand why Dr. Octopus would be a threat.
Yeah.
I think Alfred Molina kills that. But the whole middle of that movie is boring as fuck because he loses his powers and it becomes like a weird like
drama.
Self-pity drama. Yeah. I think Tom Holland is the best live-action Spider-Man. He will be the gold standard of Spider-Man for the next 50+ years.
Wow. Big words.
If anyone else who ever plays Spider-Man is going to have to live up to Tom Holland, no question.
How many films has he done now?
He's done
3?
Well, this is the 4th Spider-Man solo movie, and then he did 3 Avengers movies.
Right.
So he's done 7.
So 4 Spider-Man films. Wow.
Yeah, but he's obviously gonna be more.
Yeah.
He's already played the role for 10 years. Like
that's crazy.
Way longer than anyone's ever done.
Kept himself in shape
outside of voice line. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, he's always like only like 30.
Yeah.
I do think
makes it easier.
So I do think that there's probably gonna. I think there's probably gonna be 2 more in this trilogy, whatever. I think by the end of it, you will see him hand that baton off to Miles Morales. He's already talked about.
Is Miles in the film? The new film? No.
Miles has not shown up yet. His uncle, the Prowler, was in Homecoming, the first solo Spider-Man movie. But he mentions his nephew, but not by name. So Miles exists in the universe somewhere. And remember that we are about to move into Secret Wars,
right.
Doomsday and Secret Wars. And Secret Wars in the comics is, Doom becomes the God Emperor of the universe, which is basically one giant planet with every Marvel continuity mushed together into one place. And it's held together by Molecule Man. And because of a nice thing, Miles is from the Ultimate Universe, has been destroyed in the meantime. And Miles does a nice thing for Molecule Man, and Molecule Man says, I'm going to remember that's the first nice thing someone's done for me in years, and I'm going to remember that. Molecule Man is one of the most powerful beings in the universe.
I would imagine. He can manipulate molecules.
He's holding the weird Doom reality together like through sheer force of will, but he's like in a void, and like Miles brings him some food.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's
Secret Wars is all about weird stuff like this.
So in the end, when everything gets put back into one universe, because Secret Wars was used as basically a reset to like put everything back, and that's what they're going to use it for in the movies. I think is they're going to basically lay out. They're going to reset the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be exactly what they want it to be going forward. The X-Men will be there. Everything will be in play. The Fantastic Four will always have been part of that. Yada yada. But one of the things Molecule Man does in the comics is as a thank you to Miles, is he puts Miles in the main universe instead of his dead Ultimate Universe, and that is how Miles Morales gets into the main Marvel universe.
Very kind.
And I'm pretty sure that's something similar is going to happen here.
Yeah.
And so my guess is you're going to get this in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and there will be another Spider-Man movie where basically introduces Miles, and by the second Spider-Man movie after this, Tom Holland will retire somehow. I don't know if they'll kill him or he'll just stop being Spider-Man, but Miles will become the new Spider-Man. And Tom Holland can back off and have children with Zendaya. And he can stay home and watch the kids, and Zendaya can go win some Oscars.
Yeah, she's actually doing
that's pretty much what I think. I mean, look, the three people that starring in this movie are in the two biggest movies of the summer simultaneously, because they're all him and Zendaya and John Bernthal are all in the Odyssey as well. Bernthal's great in this. He's the Punisher. Perfect use of the Punisher. It's it's like watching one of those old comic books where these characters just show up in things, and you're like,
okay.
Of course these guys of course they all know each other. Yeah, because this movie jumps ahead like 4 years from the last one, so he's been Spider-Man for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
His whole focus has been Spider-Man the whole time, and everyone knows him. Everyone knows Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man. No one knows it's Peter Parker. Peter Parker doesn't exist really, and like he knows Frank. So they've all done stuff together forever. They all know each other again as superheroes, not as people. It all works great. Like mixing somehow, and it's great that the Punisher stuff they've just done on Disney Plus is violent and R-rated, but like the way that Bernthal manages to make that character work there and work in this PG-13 sort of goofball Spider-Man thing, and you can visibly tell it's the same character.
Yeah,
it's very well done. I mean, Bernthal doesn't get enough credit, I think, for how well he plays that role.
Why do you think,
especially as someone who doesn't like the Punisher and does like the Punisher the way he does it?
Yeah.
Like I never thought anyone could make me like the Punisher, but John Bernthal has pulled it off.
Huh. Why do you think that this movie has struck gold? Is it just Spider-Man? Is that it?
It is in large part because Spider-Man, because people love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the most popular superhero in the world and has been our entire lives.
He's been mine my
whole life. With a brief side detour into Batman circa 1989 to 1992 or so, because of the movie became such a big hit. But Spider-Man has always been through his whole existence.
All my nephews, every single one of them, Spider-Man favorite superhero.
I love Spider-Man too. I was an X-Men kid, but I love Spider-Man, and I don't even fully remember why. I think because I saw the Electric Company and the old '60s cartoon, the Electric Company, the live action show that was on at the time. Like I just like Spider-Man. And it was funny because my mom always thought Spider-Man was creepy. She's like, "Oh, it's creepy, it's Spider-Man." And it was funny because I'm like, "That's exactly what J. Jonah Jameson wants you to think." Because I remember as a kid, I never understood like why Jameson hated him so much. Why anyone would believe what Jameson was saying, or why? And then like my mom was saying exactly the same. Like, "Oh, he's so creepy. Why does he?" I'm like, "Oh, wow. I guess that would work." Okay. There's one reason I'm not so surprised by the climate that we find ourselves in today, I suppose. Thank you, Spider-Man, for teaching me things way ahead of time. But yeah, it's a combination of that, combination of the fact that the Tom Holland Spider-Man is insanely popular. The last Spider-Man movie was also a giant $1 billion hit, made $1.5 billion without really breaking a sweat.
And what was the subtitle of that one?
That was No Way Home.
No Way Home.
That was the one with the other Spider-Man coming back.
Right.
Also, I hate the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I love Andrew Garfield in that movie. Andrew Garfield was fantastic as Spider-Man. He got a redemption arc for that, and Jamie Foxx as Electro in that. And it's like okay, put it this way: I hate Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I would absolutely watch an Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield coming back to like kind of redeem that continuity with totally different creative team. But Andrew Garfield is a great Spider-Man. He just didn't get a chance.
Yeah. Well, what makes the movie great?
It's
because it lives up to, it's worth it, right? It's earned the money, right? The revenue.
I think so. It is a very character-driven piece. It has a lot of emotion to it. It balances the MCU sort of interconnected universe thing properly with telling the story about these characters that are part of this main Spider-Man story. It deals with the outcome of the last one, where everyone forgot who he was and like how he had to live that way very well. It adapts another Spider-Man story from the comics a little bit, that it was a terrible story, and it found a way to make it pretty good. It does not go the direction you think it's going to in a bunch of ways. It gives you a good swerve. The villain is someone you would never, ever expect to be the villain in a Spider-Man movie.
That is one thing I've picked up on.
Yeah.
On just being online after the movie came out.
Yeah, it's pretty widespread now, but I'm not going to talk about it.
No, not a spoiler. Just that is sort of one of the big parts of it. Yeah.
And I had to get. I kind of knew who it was because I'd seen.
So you had figured it out beforehand?
More or less. I mean, I knew who was in it, and when you start, if you know who's in it and you start to see the villain do the thing, you're like, okay, this has.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
But there's a bunch of other stuff in it that you don't know, and the way they do it is very, very good, and not the way I would have expected some of the stuff that's in it to get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline, which is clever. There is also a Ned in it. It creates an app that tracks where Spider-Man is, called Spidey Tracker, and you pull up and it shows a map of Manhattan, and the map is the PS4 game.
Oh, cool!
It's a PS4 map with the same icons,
right?
And the same thing, everything. So that's a reference.
It's got like mission objectives on it and stuff.
It doesn't have mission objectives,
no.
but it is the same
map
of Manhattan with the same icons that represent the missions, but they just supposedly mean different things in the app.
Yeah.
But it's very recognizably the PS4 game.
Yeah, I like that connective tissue.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, it feels like the games have kind of really kept the fervor around Spider-Man. Like really,
they're part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
These movies are these are $1 billion movies one way or the other. Even the Far From Home, which most people don't seem to like very much anymore, which I still like. We rewatched them in preparation for this, and I think they're all good. I always thought Holland, even from Homecoming, I thought Holland was the best live action Spider-Man because he feels like a person.
Yeah.
Like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is one aspect of Peter Parker. He is the sad Parker Luck. The Steve Ditko, like just everything bad happens to Peter.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield was more the quippy, sort of like kind of an arrogant asshole that nobody likes because they don't understand he's just an insecure kid under there. But like he was that version of Spider-Man. Tom Holland is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He is a three-dimensional character. He is a functioning person who feels like a real person who also like, because one of the things that I never liked about Maguire Spider-Man is he never felt like I could never reconcile the quippy, like the happy-go-lucky persona of Spider-Man with him. He never really was able to portray that properly. And when Tom Holland is in the suit and has the mask on in this movie, and he's doing kind of more of a New York accent when he's when he's Spider-Man more than so he's like yeah, you're okay, kid. There's a little bit more of that to him, and it's like, yeah, you would totally see him. Like, it feels like he's figured out like how these two versions of this character work together. He's figured out how this private life of Peter, how he reacts to that. He figures out how he manages to compartmentalize that from being Spider-Man on a day-to-day basis. And like you can, because Spider-Man's more of like the, nothing gets to him, and he says like, oh, hey, well, yeah, good, that kind of thing. Hey, I was like, what walking here? He's that kind of, he's a New York hero. And then like, but he really gets that thing where as soon as that ends and he takes the mask off, you see just like the weight that's on him of it. He's very, very good at it. I mean, Holland's a great actor. I think he will be.
He is good.
I think he'll be a great actor outside of the superhero stuff as soon as he decides he wants to move on from that. But clearly he loves doing this, and he's a producer now, so he gets to call some shots.
Right.
It's just a good movie. It's a
you
really
recommend
good movie.
it to everybody?
Anyone who likes Spider-Man. That's it. I mean, that's it. If you like Spider-Man, go see this movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
But do you have to like Spider-Man? Because the thing about some of these superhero movies is that they could transcend your interest in the actual comics and the superheroes.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I mean, for our audience,
Spider-Man
is
Spider-Man's the most popular hero in the world.
Yeah.
If you don't like Spider-Man, you are part of a tiny little niche of weirdos, and I don't care.
That's true, actually. That's a good point.
It doesn't matter.
That's
like,
a good
we don't
point.
need you to make this movie $1 billion hit, and clearly not. It's the biggest box office weekend of all time between this and Odyssey.
That's awesome.
It was gigantic.
Who would have thunk in 2026?
Yeah, I mean,
the prices of movies are way more expensive now.
Biggest domestic opening of all time. It beat Endgame by about $2 million.
It's crazy.
No IMAX screenings.
Yeah.
It will be coming to IMAX starting this week because the IMAX
because you'd be an idiot not to.
Well, no, because they couldn't do it.
Why?
Because the Odyssey had all the IMAX theaters locked down until next week.
That's right.
Christopher Nolan. That same thing's going to happen with Doomsday. Dune has all the IMAX screenings locked down until the end of December.
Really?
So there will be no IMAX screenings of Doomsday.
That's a huge screw up, man.
Well, that's why I kept saying I thought they were going to push it to next May so they could get the IMAX screenings.
Right.
But this proves that you do not need IMAX to break all the records.
You really don't.
So I'll tell you this. Dune and Doomsday have their bars set now.
Yeah.
Like between the Odyssey, kind of, because the Odyssey is a pretty, not a terrible equivalent of Dune.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, I mean,
auteur
yeah,
director
for
adapting
sure.
an
Yeah.
unadaptable work into
Yeah.
a big epic thing. You know,
Yeah.
and then desert versus ocean, but still, whatever. The desert is kind of portrayed as an ocean in Dune.
But I
same
mean,
thing.
they are still kind of similar.
Yeah, I think you got parallels there, and then you got the two big superhero movie, big Marvel movies. Doomsday could not have had a better intro than this. I mean, this doesn't really have anything to do with Doomsday at all, but having this big movie that showed that, you know, superhero Marvel stuff can still be great and you can still love it and it can still make tons of money. Like, there's no better way to make it's sort of like how, like, you know, Force Awakens, we don't like to talk about it anymore because everybody lost their mind about Star Wars, but like Force Awakens kind of had to make it okay to love Star Wars again after the prequels.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was
No,
cool.
you're right.
It was cool to think Star Wars was cool again when that movie came out.
I agree.
And
I felt good
Maybe
learning
Spider-Man
about
can do
this.
something like with this.
I don't know why, but when I found out that this movie did very well, I felt good inside about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, it's
I
just
can't
nice to
explain
see
why.
that some of the, you know, it's nice that not everything has fallen victim to the inshittification.
Maybe you're
you
right.
know?
Maybe that's what it is.
Because this is a movie that only human beings could have made. It's
almost-
a very human movie.
Yeah, it almost felt like maybe a return to normalcy that I'm kind of subconsciously
bit of
seeking
that,
because
yeah.
of the chaos in our world right now.
It's
Like,
nice. Yeah, a Spider-Man movie being a big hit is something that has been kind of
Oh,
a constant for...
That reminds me
20
of
years.
better times,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's like I'm back at the Metreon.
I mean, I'm not kidding, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm kind of
That's
at right
possible.
now. So it's interesting, but I am very
And I
glad.
mean, and this movie is very aware of that element of society right now. I
Yeah.
mean, there is a lot of, like, he has decided to be this one thing and neglect the other part of himself, and that becomes a big problem for him.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Yeah, no real negative anything to say about it. I think there's a couple places I would be like, you know, this could have been tweaked or that could have been that, but in general, it's one of the best MCU movies. It's certainly the best live-action Spider-Man movie, I think. It feels like Spider-Man from the comic books. If you love the comic books, you remember what that character is like and what that world feels like. This feels like it. This is the most true to life what it would feel like to swing around New York as Spider-Man. Some of the shots in this are phenomenal. Like the way they're messing with the camera where he's upside down and it goes with him and you drop down the building with him and you swing through this. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it. Even with spider powers, I don't think I would be able to. I mean, it's just like...
Well, he's Spider-Man.
It's crazy. And it shows how small he is in these huge canyons of these giant buildings. I kind of recommend seeing it in 3D.
Yeah?
If you can.
Wow.
Like the
To get that whole perspective
3D is
and-
very understated, but it's subtle. But when you do those big swinging sequences, it really drives
feel
it home.
I believe that. I believe that.
So I would say that's something to consider too.
Okay.
Yeah, big thumbs up for this one.
There you go.
Nailed it. I have a whole lot of concerns about Doomsday,
but for now.
But they nailed this one, and hopefully they will nail Beyond the Spider-Verse next year. And if you're a Spider-Man fan, everything's looking pretty good. If you're a Marvel fan, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not writing it off.
I mean, Doomsday's pre-sales are very, very good.
Are they?
It was looking. Dune and Doomsday are both looking very good in pre-sales.
Good.
So we might actually have Doomsday when it comes down to it.
That's awesome.
Barbenheimer may not have been the last time we do something like that.
All right. Well, it's time to move on. We're going to talk next about something we teased a little bit earlier, which is Gears of War E-Day. This week, the crew at Xbox unveiled the multiplayer modes, and boy, did they ever. There was tons of previews around the industry. Also, Xbox put out like this official like 15, 16-minute preview of the multiplayer stuff. And the first thing I'm going to say is that, Matt, I'm ready to play it again. Like, Gears of War multiplayer. I had just kind of written it off. The last Gears, I think I played multiplayer a total of like 8 hours or something like that, because I'll just be honest, like it just
probably more multiplayer than I've played of Gears of War total.
Really? You didn't even the first two?
Unless you count horde mode. I played a lot of horde mode, but I never played. I played competitive multiplayer. I'm gonna guess I played about 4 hours of competitive multiplayer.
Wow.
Gears of War in all the 20 years.
Wow. Oh, I played a ton. I don't play that much anymore.
I like the way Gears of War plays, but I don't think multiplayer is the same game.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just wall bouncing nonsense, and I'm not interested. And also, I don't like shotguns, and I don't enjoy using shotguns. And if you ain't using a shotgun in Gears multiplayer, you're dead.
You're toast. Yeah, you really have to learn the shotgun roll.
I much prefer like the cover system and plinking out people
stop
with
and
machine
pop.
guns and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I like that. I think that's fun, and that is just how you die horribly in multiplayer.
It is.
So I just don't really bother with the multiplayer.
I played a lot of multiplayer up through Gears 3, and after Gears 3,
I do love horde mode though. 12-person horde mode is.
So that's
That's on my radar.
So
for
that's
sure.
what's happening. One of the big new features is a 12-player PvE horde mode called Horde Siege, where there's actually
definitely down for that.
Yeah, where there's like 3 teams playing at once, which is pretty freaking cool. But yeah, I played the multiplayer in Gears a ton for the first 3 games, and since the 4th one on down, it's just dwindled. And the last one, I literally played like 8 hours, and I was like, I get it. Like, there was really nothing all that revolutionary about the last one. And what they've shown about this hasn't been revolutionary either, but I agree with you. The Horde mode is the best multiplayer mode in Gears. And for them to recognize that and say, you know what, let's take that ball and run with it, I think it's the right decision.
Because I remember back when they first started horde mode, and like we played it, G4, like we played at night, and like the next morning, everyone like you'd send company-wide emails where everyone was sending their like scores and how far they got. Like it was just like everyone would catch up with what happened in horde the night before with everybody, and that was the beginning of the workday. And I had never seen anything like that. That was a revelation to some degree.
Yeah. Well, this new mode called Horde Siege mode, as we said, is 12 players with 3 different squads, and each squad fights through their own objectives and kind of does their own thing. So each squad has like their own things that they're going through. You're not competing with the other squads to complete your objectives.
But it's good for you if the others complete their objectives.
Yeah. Yep. And the maps are the biggest in Gears history, which you would expect. This is 2026. They better be the biggest in history.
Yeah, it's nice to see something that like feels like you couldn't have done this last gen sort of thing.
And definitely checking out this B-roll. You can definitely see, man.
There's a lot of shit on the screen.
This game's looking real good.
The number of locusts is amazing.
It is amazing.
Because remember, that this used to be like a game where you were like fighting five guys at once was like a big fight.
Yep.
And now it's like, God, there's like 40 of them.
Yep. So there's 4 different classes to choose from. You have Assault, which is like for mid-range stuff. They use a Sonic Disruptor. There's the Marksman, which is for precision damage. He uses the Pulse Drone tagging. Then there's the Breacher, which is real up close, like point blank, frontline soldier. He uses the Adrenaline Injector. And then there's the Medic, and obviously they can revive people, and he uses...
I like that. Like the Medic that where he just throws the thing out and everybody gets back out. That's pretty cool.
Yes, that thing is called the Stem Vaporizer. It revives any gear.
I'm sure it has no long-term side effects.
Yep. Then the main objective for each match is you're securing what's called rigs, which is short for recon devices that scan the Locust tunnel networks. So... basically, I guess you collect the rigs, and then it shows you like where the Locusts are going to emerge. That'd be my guess. And they also attract enemies when they're activated, so you can throw them down, and it'll either pull enemies away from you, or you can attract them to a spot where you then throw a grenade once they get to it and blow them all up at once. That's always fun. Then there's also secondary objectives in each mission. They're basically optional side missions where you can earn squad perks and weapon parts. For your post-session upgrades, so after it's over, you can go back and upgrade all your stuff with that. You also have squad energy that's earned from completing objectives or just getting kills, and those can be spent on supply caches that are located around the maps for new perks, equipments, and new loadout swaps. There's cross-squad moments. There's things called joint kill zones where you can work together, and to me, that is always kind of the thing that puts cooperative games over the top, is can you team up with the other people playing to do things that you cannot do on your own? A game that we're about to discuss after this one does not do that, and it's a huge detriment to that game. They do it in this, and I think that's really the key to making a good cooperative game, is rewarding people for cooperating. And when you can team up and do crazy over-the-top attacks that clear the screen, like, that's all the motivation I need, that's for sure. And then they also talked about Versus, the multiplayer modes that are coming for that. It was obviously a lot more rote and stuff that we've heard about before. But basically all the launch modes are going to be 4v4, Locust versus COG, on symmetrical maps with no mods. So it's pure skill-based PvP is what they're going for with the Versus stuff. But again, Matt, to your point, like, if you can't shotgun roll, I wish you a lot of luck. The game is only launching the Versus with just 6 maps. There's Kelowna, Park, Battleship, Outpost, Precinct, Market, and Skyward. And there's only 4 modes at launch as well. There's Team Deathmatch, Conquest, which they're calling their new version of King of the Hill. There's 2 brand new modes. One's called Demolition, where squads battle over a neutral bomb and planet at one of 2 enemy bomb sites. And there's Crucible, which revolves around holding a power core as the scoring zone shrinks and moves, forcing constant repositioning. So basically, it's got some battle royale elements to it, where it has like a shrinking battlefield throughout the entire time. And they talked a little bit about post-launch support too. They're planning obviously new maps, modes, events, and they said a big part of the DLC is going to be their opportunity to return to fan favorite multiplayer stuff. So if you're hearing stuff, you're like, that doesn't sound like Gears to me, or hey, what about this? What about that? They're listening. So after the game launches, like if you're vocal in the community or just generally how you pick which mode you want to play and which maps you want to play, they're going to listen to all that stuff, watch all that stuff, and their DLC strategy is going to follow what the fans are actually asking for, which I think is great. This is also the first Gears game ever to support weapon modding. So being able to like collect parts and stuff like that and then go back after the match and like upgrade your weapon, that is not something you've been able to do in Gears in the past. You'll be able to make like small tactical tweaks to major changes, like altered perfect active reload effects, which is kind of crazy. So they're kind of going in on the active reload, which they should. Or you'll be able to attach like a bayonet to the Nasher, like stuff like that. And then as far as like the Horde Siege missions, there are variable difficulty modifiers, kind of like the skulls in Halo. They're going to have that in this new Gears game. For example, like explosive drone deaths, perfect reload only runs, friendly fire, stuff like that. They also said that the poison mechanics are returning from the Locust Horde, which is something that hasn't been in the last couple Gears games. And they also talked that there's new traversal and movement mechanics that carried over into Versus. But they did say that, Matt, to your point, like they have built pretty much every map and every mode and every ability around getting people to return to that classic cover and lane gameplay that we've known from Gears for the last decade and a half at this point. Mm-hmm. They also talked about
4 days from now, we'll be banging off walls, blowing shit up before you can blink, and it won't matter.
You're right. I mean,
the instant you sit behind cover and pull a fucking assault rifle up over the top, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Because someone's already behind you.
No, you're right. Yeah. Or they're gonna stick you with a grenade. Or
all of a sudden, there's this chainsaw going through your torso. Like it's like the game does not play in PvP the way it plays in every other mode.
It's true.
That's simply how it is. That's how the world is.
Yeah. And they said the most important thing that they wanted to get forth with everybody who's interested in this game about the multiplayer in this is that it is all legit. There's no battle pass. There's no play to win. Items are like you earn them. Like you aren't just given it. You can't buy stuff that makes you better. There's no season passes. There's no none of that. It is basically just straight up multiplayer. If you kick ass, you're going to get rewarded. And when you get rewarded, you can go back and you can do stuff that you've never done before, like craft new weapons and upgrade your weapons and stuff like that. Cosmetics and customization also only earned through play are another big focus. That's another thing that I feel like this franchise has been kind of weak on compared to other shooters. Now, I don't know if you want it to go overboard like Call of Duty has, where you have like cartoon characters running around the battlefield that seem out of place. But it does sound like they're going to at least add a little bit of character to the Gears of War multiplayer suite. And I think that's the right call. Even, I'll say this, Matt, watching all this B-roll of multiplayer, there is still a very samey, gray, brown, red.
Oh yeah, it looks like Gears.
Yeah, which probably is the right call.
Yeah, I mean, there's some elements here that like don't quite look like that because it's early in the war, so there's stuff like this building's still pretty intact.
Yeah.
But clearly, the inhabitants of Sarah were not huge fans of green.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely not. No doubt about that. You're right, though. Look at how many enemies there are in these scenes. It almost is scary looking at this stuff. But it'll be awesome.
Like you can see why they lost the war.
It'll be fun to cooperatively fight against these gigantic monsters, though, I think. Like, I think that the new Siege Horde mode could be really, really cool. So I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for the multiplayer in general. I think they're generally making the right decisions. I haven't seen anything yet that's crazy innovative or kind of changes the game drastically in any way, shape, or form. But
I mean, it's just Gears.
It's Gears of War.
But I mean, there's different ways to approach Gears, and I think they've approached it poorly in sometimes in the past. And this looks a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks a lot more. It looks a lot more. They didn't forget the roots, but they're also just like not resting on the laurels, and probably a couple other plant metaphors.
They're bringing it up to code, basically, with other shooters. Like a lot of stuff that we're just kind of taking for granted in other shooters. Gears hasn't done it until now, so a lot of it is just kind of becoming parody with all the other games in the similar genre. So
like I would love to see like a PvP mode where they found a way to force players to play the game the way Gears is kind of intended to be played. I just don't believe that.
I don't either,
exists.
because in the end they'll find exploits, and if they haven't like nerfed the shotgun roll, people are going to shotgun roll, and they're not going to nerf it.
And if they did nerf the shotgun roll, it's just people just going to whine about it forever.
Right, then they'll just complain and not want to buy it because they got rid of the shotgun roll. There's no winning.
Because that's the only way they can actually win.
You're right. They are not used to playing shooters. They know how to play Gears. So that's a difference. Also, again, another reminder that there is a beta for this game. So you can get in a couple different ways. You can pre-order the game, and you can get in, and again, it kicks off on August 6th. So that's like in a couple days. You can pre-order the game and get in, or if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you're in. So probably the cheaper way, if you're not interested in buying the game, is just get them on the Game Pass and then play the multiplayer beta. And that'll probably help you decide whether you want to buy it or not. Plus, there's a bunch of other awesome stuff on Game Pass anyway. So, in fact, the game we're going to talk about next is also on Game Pass. So, August 6th is when it all kicks off. You can get in two ways, if you're a Game Pass subscriber or if you pre-order the game, and you can give it a play and play it all weekend. And I can say this, we will be back next Tuesday to talk about our hands-on experience. At least I will. I don't know if you'll be playing it or not. We'll be back next week to talk about our hands-on time playing the Gears of War E-Day multiplayer beta. And also don't forget that Gears of War E-Day is a prequel to the Gears of War series, and that also comes through in the multiplayer with the enemies and the situations and all that kind of stuff too. So there you go. That's Gears of War E-Day multiplayer. Let's check chat real quick and make sure there's no questions that you guys have for us around this. Justin Horman, we're definitely going to need a Sifted Club for this game. LOL. I'm in. I'm Dinfire. If you aren't friends with me already, add me, and we'll play. And we'll get shotgun rolled by a bunch of 8-year-olds. Erebus says, since they've baked Metallica's music into this game, can we look forward to it being delisted in 2029?
Yeah, that's true.
They did say that they will make some exceptions for cosmetics if it's tied into something like that. So apparently, I guess you can play as Metallica in the game, or there's like skins or something for them. So they did say that they will have some special stuff like that, but don't expect there to be like Rick and Morty running around the battlefield like you see in Call of Duty now. So they are going to change it up a little bit, give it a little bit more personality, and I do think that that is the right call, honestly. All right, it's time to move on to our last topic of GameFace episode 491, our only review of today's episode, and it's way down in the rundown, so you know it's not a gigantic game. Matt, I did send you a code of this, but you did not find time to play it.
No, the weekend was packed.
Okay.
But
well, this game is called Mistfall Hunter.
It didn't look like I missed a whole lot.
Well, the funny thing about it, Matt, is
Mistfall a whole lot.
The funny thing is, I thought you might enjoy it more than I did or would, because it is a Souls-like game.
I mean, I will say that I could, because when you sent me that, I couldn't remember what it was. I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, online.
Yep.
Like,
it is, yeah.
You almost had me. And then, but I didn't have time. I mean, I certainly didn't have time to get into an online game, and I probably wouldn't have had time to get into a single-player Souls-like anyway. It was the last 4 days have just been very busy.
Yep. Well, you can play this by yourself, although I do not recommend it, and they really don't recommend it either because they've built this game as a cooperative Souls-like action RPG, and basically how it works is you go into the world in like an instance. So like a lot of games, you have a home base that you go back to in between your missions. You go out into the mission, it's a map, just like you'd find in like Elden Ring, like a big open area with lots of interconnected buildings and open areas and stuff like that. You just land on this map and you just start moving around, looking for people to kill, and therefore after you kill them, take their loot. And basically how it works is you go out into the world, you can complete missions out in the world, you fight enemies out in the world. As you complete missions and kill enemies, you either loot them or you're rewarded with stuff. And when you have enough stuff and you feel like you're cool and you're ready to go back, you have to go through this crazy, awkward extraction experience. So this is a cooperative, Souls-like extraction action RPG. these genres
It makes me want to dive off the balcony.
Well, you know, I'm not the world's biggest Souls-like guy. Like, I generally do not like these games. But I'll be honest, like, I played a good bit of this and did enjoy it.
I was going to say, it's nice that they managed to, like, take these things that we both like and put enough things we don't like it, neither of us would be very interested.
So
in
neither
this.
of us will love it. Yeah, because you're right. Like, it compromises between the two of us to make something that maybe neither one of us would actually spend money on. That might be the best way to look at it. But how it works
Slap that on the box.
Yeah. But here's the thing about this. Like, you're completely in control, for the most part, on when you extract. So, like, there are these little stations, I'll call them, out in the world, and they show you on the map where they are, and they're not there all the time, but even on the map they'll show you, like, in a minute and 20 seconds it's going to appear, or it's there and it's going to disappear in 5 minutes or whatever. And basically you look on the map and you find these little stations, and you go there and basically you ring this bell. And again, this is when you've collected all your stuff and you're ready to extract. You find this station, you ring this bell. When you ring this bell, it starts a countdown of this little, almost like Breath of the Wild style, like woodland creature that appears. You have to fight and kill the woodland creature, and then a tree spawns where they die, and then you wait a little bit, and you can hit the square button on PlayStation, and then you can extract. And the thing is, when you first ring that bell, it alerts all the other human players that are in the map. And so, just like any other extraction game, it becomes this nail-biting thing where you're like, oh my god, is anybody coming? And you're like, you're swiping the camera around looking for somebody coming or whatever. And I'll just be honest with you, I think probably 2 out of every 3 times I extracted, somebody showed up and I had to fight him and kill him to keep my stuff. If you die to another human player, you lose everything. All the armor, all the weapons, all the resources you've gathered, you lose it all. And the first time it happened to me, Matt, I literally was like, that's it. I'm done. I quit. And I did quit for the day. And then the next day came and I was like, well, I should probably see what happens after you die to see if they've, like, accounted for it. And they do. So if you die to a human player, you do basically lose all your stuff. But a screen will pop up and say, hey, we actually managed to save some stuff for you. For me personally, it didn't seem like it was the best stuff that I lost, but it was better than nothing. But what I learned after that happened was, 1, the game accounts for it. So I started my next... I went back, and luckily, I had saved a bunch of stuff in the camp, in my basin or whatever, where you keep all your stuff. So I was able to kind of kit myself back out with at least low-level weapons and armor and stuff like that. Then I went back out into the world, and they set it up so that you can very easily get back to where you were. By 15 minutes into that next mission, I had basically replaced almost all the stuff that I had lost. So I'll just say this. If you do give this game a go, and a human player shows up, like the one I'm fighting right now in the B-roll, if a human player shows up and he kills you, don't freak out. It's not the end. I thought it was too, and it really was not. Like, I was able to get most of my stuff back pretty quickly. And once you realize that they've designed the game around that, then it seems a little bit more palatable and a little bit easier to digest. Now, as far as the combat is concerned, you may have noticed in the B-roll already that it looks like I'm doing a lot of flailing, like a lot of swinging where I'm not hitting the enemy. And that's because there's no lock-on in this game. None. It is all...
I was going to ask why you're not using the lock-on.
There isn't one. And they said they did that on purpose because they said that they felt once they put a lock-on in a game like this, that combat just becomes like this paint-by-numbers thing.
Because that's what Dark Souls is?
Yeah.
Dark Souls has a lock-on.
Yeah,
one of the most popular things in the last 20 years.
Well, what they were saying is...
Sounds like you just weren't good enough to do it right.
Well, it's different with this because there's other people out in the world that are trying to kill you.
Yeah, so I'm in Dark Souls.
But their point is if it just turns into this thing where you lock on and it almost turns into like playing Guitar Hero.
But no, it doesn't. Like, you have a lock on in Dark Souls, and Dark Souls has PvP all the time, and it doesn't do that.
I haven't experienced a lot of PvP in Dark Souls or Elden Ring.
Like, that's the whole point. Like, the people, I mean,
I never see anybody.
But that's not what I like. But like, PvP is a big part of the Dark Souls stuff.
Yeah, I'm just telling you what the developer said.
Well, they are bullshitting you.
I mean, there is some truth to the fact that, like, with a lock on, it does kind of turn into like a call and response.
It doesn't. I've never felt that way about those.
Well, you're
games.
looking for the animation to tell you to move.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind
of at that point, you might as well say that about fighting games. Like,
I mean, they're a little bit.
Okay, well, guess what's more popular than this?
Nothing.
All those games.
Wait.
Mistfall Hunter.
Oh, you mean the specific?
You're telling me
I
Street
thought you were
Fighter?
talking about a genre.
You're telling me Street Fighter's not as popular as Mistfall Hunter? Like what? Who are they? People have done it better than them already. Why are they straying from the formula and making some excuse that it somehow ruins it?
Well, from my perspective,
just say you didn't want to put it in. Like you don't have to act like it's some kind of game design choice that fucked up.
But see, as somebody who played it, I do understand it. Like I've honestly played at least a little bit of all From's games. I don't play them very long, but I never play with other people. In this, you have no choice. Here's another thing.
You don't have a choice in Dark Souls. They're coming for you.
But they don't. Like, I don't ever have people in my game.
You generally probably don't have that turned on.
Maybe.
Because you have to opt into that most of the time.
But it's not been a thing for me. In this, you have no choice.
I promise you that is 50% of the appeal of Dark Souls to the people that play that game hardcore.
I mean,
is the PvP.
I've experienced it. I've called in people to help me fight bosses and
Yeah, but the red guys that come in hunting you.
Yeah, I haven't had to deal with that very much.
The bloody finger guy. Yeah, because you generally do not have that turned on in modern versions of those games. But that is... The combat doesn't break because there's lock-on. I promise.
My point is, it's not optional in this. It's not something that you turn on or turn off. It's just there at all times. And so it does kind of make sense. The other thing, too, is if you're locked onto an enemy while you're fighting your camera isn't free, so they may sneak up on you and, kill you before you even see them.
Also true in Dark Souls, seems to work just fine. That to me, that is, as a Souls person, I will not touch this if there's no lock on. Fuck that.
There's not.
Then I can't believe that.
Combat doesn't.
I just assumed you weren't using it because you wanted to be free to move around more.
No.
Because that's how you generally prefer to play things like this. I figured that was your choice. That's shocking to me.
Yeah.
There's no lock on in this game.
And
I will bet they'll add a lock on to this game.
Maybe if enough
because people are going to scream about that.
I haven't seen people complaining about it.
Well, probably not enough people playing it.
That could be too. But I'll say this: I have no problem getting games in this. That other game on this is also on Game Pass, by the way. This is available for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series, and it's on Game Pass right now. So the combat in this, it's strange. The way it's set up is basically when you go back to the hub world, which is what you're seeing right now. You've been watching it for the last 5 minutes. When you go back to the hub world, you can assign all the shoulder buttons to attacks. And basically to get good at combat in this, you need to learn those attacks that link together very well.
Please don't perform actions so frequently.
What?
I don't know, you did something there and a little message popped that said, please don't perform actions so frequently.
I was probably just jamming the explore button and they're like, dude, you're freaking out or whatever. But anyway, the way the combat works in this is you assign a bunch of different attacks and you unlock them as you play, new ones, to the shoulder buttons. And then over time you start to learn, okay, my R1 is a good setup, and then my L2 is a good follow-up on my R1, and then my R2 is a great finisher on my combo. And so you start to learn how to patch together these commands with the shoulder buttons to do these combos that wipe out the enemies. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is this game is nowhere near as hard as From Software's games. I wouldn't have played it as long as I did if it was. You can wander into enemies that are way out of your rank, and this game could do a better job of, keeping you away from that stuff. For example, last night I was playing, and the station appeared that I needed to go to ring to extract, and I was loaded to the gills with stuff, and I was already freaking out about it. So as soon as that bell materialized, I just looked on the map, and I ran towards it. And I got really close to it, and I needed to go up a ladder to get to it, up on the platform. I went up the ladder, and as soon as I got up there, there was an archer there that was level 300 that shot me with one arrow and wiped it all out with one shot. So there are moments in this game where it does kind of set you up. You don't get the stuff in Dark Souls for the most part, where you come around a corner and an enemy that's 3 times your level just kills you. It's not mean-spirited like that. But there's some poor planning in some of the level design and where some of the stuff basically spawns at a lot of times. They could have thought about that a little bit more. And in general, the extraction process is just way too convoluted. Why do I have to, ring a bell and then fight this weird woodland creature and then wait for a tree to spawn and then wait for the tree to activate and then extract? I should go someplace, say, hey, I want to extract. A timer starts counting down. I fight to try to survive until the counter counts down, and that's it. I have no idea why they made it so complicated. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So the extraction process in this is pretty silly when it all comes down to it. And like I said, if you die to a human player, you lose everything. If you die to a computer player, a CPU player, you can go back and get your stuff. But you respawn as like a ghost, and you have 2 minutes to get there. And generally, they do respawn you pretty close. Like, I can't remember too many times where I was, like, rushing to get there within the 2-minute limit or anything like that.
Is it chugging here, or is that just the capture?
It could be the render or the capture. I don't know. I captured this on PC, so I don't know. But, so basically, you go out into the world, you fight, and you can have people with you fighting alongside you. If you want to extract, only one of you has to survive. So if you're all standing there trying to extract and a bunch of dudes show up to try to take your stuff, as long as one of you gets out, everybody gets the stuff. So you do really have to kind of fight as a team. But I'll be honest, I played the most of this by myself. Like, I probably played 60% by myself and 40% with other players. And I had no problem playing by myself. It scales very well to single players. So if you're someone who isn't interested in playing something like this cooperatively, the game does bend to that will a little bit. My big complaint about this is the UI. Like, when you go into the shops, or even when you look at, like, your character UI stuff, like, there's no way, like, if you take an enemy down, perfect timing, and this screen pops up, there's no way to take everything. You have to pick up every individual piece. There's just, like, little quality of life stuff that a lot of other games do that this game has not picked up on yet, but my guess is over time they'll patch it and add all that stuff. In the hub world, you have the quest giver, which is this weird girl named Dew. You saw her in the B-roll already. There's another girl who mixes up drinks for you, like an alchemist, and you can mix those up, and you can get buffs for your missions. There's a blacksmith. There's an auction house. And then there's this little interface where you can send squads out to, like, scavenge ruins and bring you resources and stuff like that, a little bit like Assassin's Creed. As far as your armor and your gear, there's 10 pieces of weapons, accessories, and armor that you have to fill and replace. Now, you don't want to get too hasty with selling stuff, because again, if you die to a human player and you lose all your stuff, you're gonna hope that you had stuff in your chest back at the hub. So it's like a lot of games where you can lose your stuff if you die. You need to be
lose your equipment.
Yeah, you need to be really careful. Like, if you have a sword that's really awesome that you found, and you're like, man, I want to save this and use it on bosses or really tough missions, like, be careful. Don't take that sword out of that mission, because you can just be engaged in a fight, and some dude who's way more powerful than you just comes up from behind you and just kills you with one hit. And I don't know why they do it, because you got to figure your gear is worthless to them. I think they're just douches. They just want to just be a jerk and, like, ruin your day. There's people like that in this game who are out there just looking to grief you, basically. So you got to watch out for them.
I mean, extraction stuff pretty much encourages that by design.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I generally do not like extraction games because it encourages that people be mean. And this one, like I said, the first time it happened to me, I wanted to quit and not play it again. But I am glad that I did go back and play, because I have actually enjoyed playing this game. As far as classes are concerned, the mercenary is like the head-on combat guy. Sorcerers can cast both damage and support magic. Shadow strikes are like your stealth, like, thief character. Black arrows are your range characters. They fire bows. And then the seers are your healers. And so the game has pretty much all the classes required that most people would need to play a game and enjoy it. No matter how you like to play, there's a way to play it in this, which I think is smart. And then, like, the talents, which is like the skill tree in the game. That's where you spend the skill points that you earn. You can put those in whatever you want. But then, as I mentioned earlier, you have this girl named Dew back at the base. And after you level up each time, you go back to her and she gives you what are called blessings. And they are basically the new abilities that you can use to choose from the list of commands for the shoulder buttons, like I was saying earlier. So
combat looks awful.
Yeah, like, without the lock on, it's crazy. It can get very crazy and hectic for sure. There's no doubt about it. It's different when you don't have lock on. You do learn to adjust over time and get a little bit better.
I don't use lock on in Dark Souls or Elden Ring, like, about half the time, maybe more.
Yeah.
But, like, there are times when you use it to position yourself properly, then undo it, and then I mean, I do it against people too. Like,
yeah,
like, lock on is not like a win button. It helps you position yourself, and then you can kind of go off track as you need to, because sometimes you don't want to be stuck looking at the other guy.
Yeah, it's true.
Otherwise, you're going to end up running towards the camera to get away from them.
Yeah, I think most people understand the advantages of lock-ons.
It's very weird.
There's a reason they exist, for sure.
Ever since Ocarina, the most highly rated game of all time.
Right,
you know.
But not anymore, Matt. So there's, like...
Link, let's go bowling.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of circle evades. It's almost like this is almost like a circle strafe shooter where you attack instead of shoot in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of like circling your enemies, waiting for them to attack, then jumping in with your own attacks. So there's no lock on. There's also no pause in the game. So if you want to go in and adjust your gear, you're live the whole time. And there were definitely times where like I ran to a corner of the map to do that stuff and enemies still found me. And I was like adjusting my gear and I start hearing somebody attacking me, and I go out of the pause menu and sure enough somebody had found me standing there and started attacking me. So the world does feel alive. Like you saw in the B-roll here too, like when you open doors, sometimes there's enemies waiting on the other side of the door. I had a glitch one time where I opened a door and I just died and I lost everything, and that was just a straight up glitch. Like an enemy didn't kill me, a human didn't kill me, I just died out of nowhere and I lost everything. So they're definitely working through some kinks, but overall, I've enjoyed my time with this game. And I'm not a big Souls-like guy. I do like cooperative play a lot, generally. That's something that usually resonates with me. But it's not so hard that it's like crazy frustrating. Like, you die every once in a while. Mostly it's your fault when you die. But it's not that punishing when you do die, other than when humans kill you. But when, you know, I've pretty much got back to my body, I think, every time that like an NPC killed me in this. Like I never lost my stuff over that. So they've designed it to be pretty friendly. Like I know a lot of people are like me and they hear Souls-like and they're like, forget that. Like this is one that you can play. It's one that I could play and I didn't become frustrated with too much. And it does have the camaraderie of the cooperative stuff where you can play along with people. And it's, I think in games like this that are a little bit harder, cooperative seems more rewarding for whatever reason, because people can help you out. You feel good about helping other people out. At least that's how I feel anyway. And here's the thing I was talking about. This is the installation you have to activate. And then that little orb flies over there, and that tells you where the little woodland creature is going to spawn. You run over there, you wait for him to spawn, you kill him, and then the tree shows up, and you got to wait again before you can actually extract. It's just very convoluted. I have no idea why they decided to design it that way. A couple other things to mention. There's this weird context-sensitive stuff for all kinds of things in this game. You saw it already probably for opening doors. But it also happens for jumping and teleporting in the game. Like there's certain parts of the world where you can jump, but it's like context sensitive and you can leap like 50 feet in the air. And there's other parts where you teleport, and that's all on a context sensitive basis as well. There are healing flasks in the game. They take time to heal you. But there's also, if you tap left on the D-pad, you can see it at the bottom there right next to the health bar. You can also tap left to get immediate health. But you don't get many of those, so you can't really abuse them. The other stuff you can collect, but again, they take time. When you take a flask, it slowly recovers your health, so it's not like a fix, like immediately if you're in the heat of combat. And the other thing, too, is that enemies in this are pretty oblivious to your presence. Like, you can walk within, like, 5 or 6 feet of them, and they don't see you. So it's pretty easy to kind of walk around the map, and if you don't want to get into conflict, it's pretty easy to avoid it, which, to me, is something that's very important for Souls-like games. Like, not getting hooked into combat with an enemy that's way more powerful than me is very important in Souls-likes, and this game definitely does it. So, again, I had a couple glitches. There's, you know, they still got a little bit of work to do, but generally, I had a really good time playing this game. And this is not something that I would typically think would be in my wheelhouse. Like, when I first started playing it, I was like, I really need a game to review on GameFace this week. So I'm going to suffer through this and see if it's any good. And I actually was pleasantly surprised by it. So, again, it's called Mistfall Hunter. The game is only $25. It is really cheap. And I already, even as someone who doesn't like Souls-likes all that much, I already got $25 of entertainment out of this, for sure. I've already played more than enough hours to kind of get that much out of it. And again, it's on Game Pass this month. So we were talking earlier about maybe you get Game Pass this month so you can play Gears. Well, this is another game you could check out along with all the other awesome stuff that's already there. So I was pleasantly surprised by Mistfall Hunter. I really didn't think I was going to like it, and I did end up enjoying it. Is it a Game of the Year contender? No. Does it transcend people who don't like Souls-likes? I wouldn't go that far, but it is more palatable to those people. So I would just say don't write it off if you're not a fan of Souls-likes, because I don't think that's kind of a deal breaker with this game. So there you go. That's Mistfall Hunter, PC, PS5, Xbox Series, Game Pass, $25 if you want to buy it. And I wouldn't say I recommend it for everybody, but I think if you listen to what I just said about it and you're like, that sounds pretty cool, then at the very least, get Game Pass for the month and see if it's for you, and then check out all the other stuff there as well. So there you go. That is Mistfall Hunter. Any interest in playing that at all, Matt?
No.
No?
I mean,
it feels like you've fallen off of Souls-likes a little bit over the last year and a half.
I don't really play Souls-likes. I play Souls.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you only play the OGs.
I don't really see the point in playing like half-assed.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a bunch of them coming
imitators.
this month. Mortal Shell 2 is coming, and that's the one that looks most like Dark Souls as far as art style and everything.
Like, why would I do that when I can just go play a From Software game again?
Yeah.
Because it's not like they particularly get old in comparison. That looks more boring to me than just playing through Dark Souls 3 again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... I'd rather play...
I guess that is one perspective you could take. Like, would I play this, or would I play Elden Ring again, or whatever? Again, the cooperative stuff and the roguelite-ish
But if you want
thing.
cooperative stuff, go play, the Elden Ring one.
Oh.
Night Rain, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is very similar to Elden Ring Night Rain. It is. Like, as far as its design and...
Or go hook up with... there are people that, figure... There are ways to, like, basically jimmy the way to team up with people for co-op in the Souls games. You can do that, too.
Do that, too. Yep.
Elden Ring's pretty generous about how long you get to co-op as well.
Emperor Gestal, 84. Thank you for Twitch Prime. This is Review-Game says, you could have suffered through those new Virtual Boy games. I do not have the new Virtual Boy thing for Switch 2. Did you buy it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. I would rather play this than suffer through Virtual Boy games. I didn't suffer through this. I enjoyed it. Like, it was not a bad game.
What if it was all red wireframe?
What? Oh, actually, that might be kind of cool for like an hour, and then it would get real old. I mean, I played RPGs like that. Like the first, like Wizardry and the first RPGs I ever played, they were wireframe dungeon crawlers where it was
Ultima
just like,
was that,
I mean, those were the first RPGs I played. Some of those games were so damn hard. I remember we had one, I can't remember what the name of it was, but like we couldn't get past the fourth enemy in that game, me and my friends, ever. We could never beat it. Like this wizard would show up and wipe us out, and we could never get past it. We played it for years and could never get past that one enemy. It's pretty funny. But this is for video games. I didn't suffer playing that game at all. I had fun with it and enjoyed it. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else up here before we move on. The lock-on doesn't reduce the combat. It's a game of stamina and distance and timing attacks. And the other thing I would say, too, is you know how much I hate stamina meters. The stamina meter in this is very generous. And you get, like I said, also the enemies aren't like crazy aggro, so they don't run after you for like 5 miles like they do in some other games like this. Like you get to like another room and they pretty much stop. So you can, that's one thing I like about this game a lot. I mentioned it at the end, is that you can really control how often you're getting in conflicts with the enemies and which enemies you get into conflicts with. And let's scroll up a couple here, see if there's something. Nope, that's it. All right, that's it. Vincent says, apparently Zero Racers isn't that bad for Virtual Boy, at least. That's a pretty low bar, sadly. There aren't many good Virtual Boy games. But yeah, I never did buy that, like, Switch 2 thing. Like,
No.
They said you could use, like, the cardboard VR thing from Labo if you want to instead. But I didn't get that either. So it's not happening, unfortunately. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of GameFace episode 491, which means, of course, there's just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by Soundwizardry.com, the absolute wizards in audio. Whether you're working on a game, or you're working on a podcast, or you're working on a film, or a TV show, like all the ones we talked about earlier in the show, Soundwizardry.com can help you. In fact, the crew working on the Elden Ring film, you should contact Soundwizardry right now. They are awesome. They do awesome work. They're also awesome people. Glenn, the owner of Soundwizardry, honestly, is one of the best people I've ever met in this industry. I am not exaggerating. Work with Soundwizardry.com. They will make whatever you're working on better, I promise you. And I can promise you something else. What we're about to do is really cool and really fun. And unlike anything you will find on any other video game podcast, it's called Name That Game Tune. I play 5 samples from a video game, and you try to guess the name of the game before this guy right here. We have a running tally going this year. Whoever has the most wins at the end of the year will be crowned the champion. Right now, Matt, you have 7 wins. Next closest is Emperor Gestal with 3. And then there's another person with 2, and there's a ton of people with 1. We're only halfway through the year. There is plenty of time. You could have 0 wins right now and still win the whole thing. And that's what you should try to do, is win Name That Game Tune. There's no rules anymore. We used to have rules for it. Now the only rule is it goes into slow mode, so you can't spam the chat with game titles. But otherwise, you can keep playing and keep winning all year long. Let me bring up the interface. YouTube crew, thank you as always for showing up and hanging out with us and adding great commentary into the show. But if you want to play Name That Game Tune, you do have to jump over to twitch.tv/SIFTD. We can only play it on one service. All right, we're at the bottom of the chat. Vincent has it in slow mode, and we're ready to play. We bring up the soundboard. Matt, are you ready to play Name That Game Tune?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here's the first sample in 3, 2, 1. Any guesses on that first sample? Chrono Trigger, no. Blank,
Thanks.
Nope.
That's blank.
Good one, Gune. Crash Bandicoot 1, no.
That's a very different game. You gotta believe.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Wait, I gotta say that. I gotta allow that. It's gone already. I can't.
No, it's already in there. Vincent approved it.
No, it's not Parappa the Raper. Now we're gonna get demonetized because we said raper in our show. No, it's not it. Earthbound, no. Banjo-Kazooie, no. Parappa, no. Star Tropics, no. Buck Bumble, no. Donkey Kong, no. Goof Troop, nope. Uni Racers, nope. Sound Shapes, no. Okay. Any other guesses? That was really funny. Unintentional humor is always the best. All right, I think we're ready for the second sample. In 3, 2, 1. I'll play that one a second time. Any guesses on that second sample? Aladdin, no. Super Mario World, no. What's going on there? Tetris Effect, no. We'll allow this one too. Rayman, no. Golden Axe, no. Plock, no. I always thought Parappa had rapey eyes, no. Tomba, no. Columns, Dark Cloud, that's not it. Dungeon Master, no. Super Mario Brothers 3, nope. Any other guesses from that second one? Maybe I had this reverse. I should have used the second one first. I got more guesses from the first clue. Any other guesses? Going once. Going twice. Okay, sold. Here's the third sample in 3, 2, 1. Any guesses on that one? Earthworm Jim, no. Punch Out, no. I can see where you got that from, though. Earthworm Jim, no. Galaga, that's not it. Incredible Crisis, nice guess, but that's not it. Quack Attack, no. Claymates, that's not it. Pokemon Stadium, that's not it. Mario Party, insert number, no. Dynamite Heady, I'm not even familiar with that game, are you?
No, it was a Genesis era game.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
Orange guy blew up.
Yep.
His head blew up or something. I never played it.
We have the winner. Gune is the winner. It is Paperboy.
I knew the second one. I just couldn't place it. The first one's the breakdancer with the boombox.
Yep.
On the street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. And here's the fourth sample. And here's the last one. The last one has the vocoder voice in it, where he actually talks, which would have given it away. Great job, Gune. I think that's your first time. I think you're just now on the board for Name That Game Tune for 2026. Congratulations. I'll make sure to add you to the leaderboard.
Yeah, that second one, I could see the game fading because it's a transition sound when you start the level.
Yep.
The level just wouldn't appear in my mind.
E-Demon says, I'm too young. I've only played Paperboy in passing. Yeah. We try to mix it up. We try not to keep, we actually did 2 arcade games in a row here.
2 arcade games with like extreme sports in 2 back to back.
Yeah.
Although they were pretty far apart year wise.
Yeah. But we try to mix it up. We want to make sure that people that are younger than us can also play and compete and stuff like that. Every once in a while, I do get in a little bit of a rut. I think 2 weeks in a row, I did Genesis games at one point. But for the most part, I mix them up.
Fun fact, the Paperboy controller on the arcade, which is the handlebars, exact same controller as the Star Wars.
Oh, yeah?
Arcade.
I can see that. It just had a different attachment on it.
It just has handlebars on it.
Same action, yep.
Same as Enduro Racer, same as... Road Blasters.
That's the way it was. They had to repurpose a lot of that hardware for arcades.
And I believe Stun Runner as well.
Yeah. All right, people. That's going to do it for GameFace episode 491. A big thanks to everybody who showed up live today at twitch.tv/SiftedGames and youtube.com/SiftedGames. We're here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Come on and see us. Hang out with us. It's a great time. I have a good time doing the show every single week. Vincent's saying try to get a group together to play Big Walk. If you guys are, I'm also Dinfire on PlayStation Network. You can add me there, and if you want to play Big Walk on PlayStation Network, again, it's going to be free to anybody who subscribes here in the next couple of days. If you want to play, add me, and we'll jump in and we'll play Big Walk and see what all this noise is about, if it's about anything. So I am excited to check that out. But anyway, thanks for showing up. We're here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate everybody who gave us Twitch Prime today. I don't think we got any super chats today on YouTube.
I didn't notice any.
Thanks anyway, YouTube crew. You don't have to give us a super chat every time. It's totally fine. But thanks for just showing up. Obviously, that makes a big difference for us. It makes it fun for Matt and I to do the show if you have people to bounce stuff off of, and you guys are the best in the biz, in my opinion. If you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/sifted. There it is below us. SIFTD, if you're listening and you maybe wondered how you spell Sifted. For $5 a month, you get all our content early, and you get the show 3 days early, Factor a week early. You get nice lead time on all our content, which I'll be honest, like, it feels like most gaming Patreons give like no exclusive period anymore. Like, I've been really surprised, like, checking some of them out lately. Like, a lot of them are just like, nope, that stuff's going up on YouTube at the same exact time as our patrons get it. We don't do that, man. We give you guys an exclusivity window on our content to make it worth pledging. We'd appreciate that very much. If you don't have money, I get it. A lot of people right now don't have any freaking money. I don't have any money, to be honest. So I understand that, but maybe you are still a subscriber of Amazon Prime. And if you are, you can give us a free $2.50 every month with Amazon Prime. We talk about it on the show all the time. Go down below in the show description on YouTube. There are step-by-step instructions on how to connect your accounts. Once you do that, it's just 3 clicks to give us $2.50 every month, and you do have to redo it every month, and it does suck, but we would really appreciate it if you could. It makes a big difference for us, and we really rely on that money to survive. And if you don't have that, then just like the show right now. Hit the like button before you close the window. Share the show on social media. Tell people this is the best gaming podcast. That stuff really makes a difference and really matters. Review the show on Spotify. If you're watching it right now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else, those reviews help a big time. If somebody searches for Video Game Podcast, it's all about those reviews. And if we don't have a bunch of reviews, we don't pop up and no one's going to ever discover the show. So, again, a million ways you can help us. We'd appreciate any of them. Let's see. Next week, definitely Beast of Reincarnation. Definitely Big Walk, I think. And that might be it. Because this is another month where it starts out a little bit slow and then heats up as the month goes on. So
there's another thing this week. It's like an expansion or something. Something's this week.
Is it the Mafia expansion? The first DLC for Mafia Old Country?
That's the 14th.
Yeah. Well, look.
There is something I saw. Yeah. I remember I was like, oh, that's next week. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember what it was. Well, clearly, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because there could be no big games, and I guarantee you, we'll still have an awesome episode of GameFace for you. That's how we roll. So, everybody, have yourselves a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.